Hey, Crawl Spacers, happy birthday to the Crawl Space. We're 25 years old today, August 8th, 2023. I thought I'd bring a few friends in with me to blow out some Crawl Space candles. My man JR is with me. What's going on, JR?
All right,
Are you
25
having a
years.
seizure? What's wrong with you? Are
Yeah.
you okay?
The only, boy, I tell you, Brad, 25 years. The only thing that's lasted longer in my life is my marriage.
This has lasted longer than my marriage. I just turned 18 on my
Oh,
marriage.
wow.
That's crazy.
You're devoted more to
Um,
Spider-Man than your wife.
Let's talk to a swinging bachelor. George, what's going on, George?
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here.
There you go.
Hi, everybody.
How is everybody? Fellas, what's going on? 25 years. What were you all doing in 1998? On August 8th.
I was filming. I was putting the last touches on my movie and getting ready to premiere it in Dallas.
That's awesome. I was in college learning about HTML from a pop-up ad from GeoCities. That's what
Good
I was
God.
Was
How about you, JR?
Was that My Dead Lover, George?
That was My Dead Lover, yes.
Okay,
Wow.
I have seen that movie.
How did you see that? Oh, was it back when it was on iFilm?
When we were, Hero Realm, you posted it or something, or
Did I?
yeah. And I remember we emailed back and forth about it, and I said I liked there was one young lady there who was kind of a psycho or something or other, and I said, boy, I really liked her.
That was Jana, who later went on to be Hero Realm Girl. Adam West also liked her. Couldn't take his
Oh.
eyes off her. If you get what I mean.
The chat wants to know where they can watch George's movie, Gary and the Frozen.
It used to be up on a site called iFilm back in the day, and I looked at it. Oh God, I've looked at it several times back then, and it's apparently been deleted off of there since then. So I guess they were like, well, I don't know if they sent me emails and were like, hey, are you still alive? Is this thing still relevant or whatever? But I'm glad no one can see it anymore.
That's what Google's doing with the old accounts. Like, hey, you still use this thing? If not, we're deleting it. Yeah.
JR, the main character in that movie, the guy that played the grave robber.
Yeah.
He has actually gone on and become an independent film director, and like his second movie had Mira Sorvino in it. Like he directed Mira Sorvino. Yeah.
Wow. And by the way, folks, George does not have a beard in this movie.
Oh no.
He is clean shaven.
Nice.
I was
He
George the Shorn.
kind of talks like this, he kind of affects a deep, growly voice.
We have Winnipeg Webhead in 1998. He was -4. Heroing says happy 25th Crawl Space. Milo says hello George. Trayvon says happy 25th Crawl Space. Spider-Man is a lot easier than our wives. JR is what Mr. Comics says. I don't know what that means.
Spidey's a lot easier to get along with. He doesn't talk back.
Oh, JR, the true Goblin King. Happy birthday, Crawl Space.
Where's my damn cake? Shouldn't we be having cake?
No, you went to my website and I gave you a cookie. Come on.
Oh,
Come
my
on.
God.
Come on.
Brad, people pay for your site.
They do.
You have
For
Patreon members. Why would you
I do.
do that kind of humor?
That they enjoy
Humor.
that kind of humor.
Oh my-
Evidently.
Oh my God.
No, I
Oh
just
my
think it
God.
makes them feel better about themselves because they say, well, at least I'm funnier than that guy.
Yeah. Cut the corn, Brad. Wait, there was a time that George did not have the beard. I kind of figured George just came out with the beard.
In that movie, yeah, I was shorn, and I actually had a full head of hair. JR is one of the few amongst you that has ever seen me with hair.
Mr. Comics, I come for Spider-Man, stay for the Brad dad jokes. Well, thank you, Mr. Comics. There's plenty to be had. As George has said in the past, it is my mutant power of the pun. Is lots of fun. Yes.
Stop.
What are you, hammer? Can't
No.
touch this. Stop hammer time. We're gonna do 25 of
Oh
our
wait, but hey, before
Yeah,
we jump into
yes.
this,
Okay.
let me talk to you on a personal level, Brad.
Okay.
Let's get real here at the Crawl Space for a little bit if we can. All right,
Okay.
because this is a
Is this an intervention?
This is no, it's an interview.
Oh, okay.
I've tried to give you interventions before on like buying variants and other crap. It's not worked. So I will never do a intervention for you. But I mean this is a quarter century,
Yeah.
Brad. A
Yes.
quarter. Wars have lasted longer than this site has been alive. And
Wow.
when you first, because this yeah, as you said earlier, this predates you getting hitched.
It does.
At the time, you're tossing it around in your mind. Should I do this? Should I not? Pros, cons. What do I want to do? Do I want to embark on this? Number one, did you ever think a quarter century
No.
it'd still be going on?
No. Never.
Number two, did you ever think, someday, I'll have a thing and people can pay me for the cost for this thing?
No. I was looking for Marvel fans. I didn't have any in high school. I didn't have any kids that I talked to that read comics in high school. I was looking for someone to talk about the books I read. And little did I know, 25 years later, everyone's a Marvel fan. Everyone. Now, they don't actually read the comics probably, but they at least know the character, they know the movies, etc. You can talk Marvel to most anyone these days.
And that led you to top-notch, top shelf talent like myself and JR.
Well, I put together the cast I could.
How many times do you sit around thinking, God, how lucky am I to have JR and George?
Well,
to really carry the show for me. No,
I just thought of it now. No, I'm just kidding.
So many times that he can't spit it out. It's just overwhelming.
I like what Thomas Bagley says. In honor of the Crawl Space 35th anniversary, Brad Jordan's JR will be played by holograms, just like Spidey's 35th celebration. So there
Could
you go.
be.
If they make
we'll have AI. I'll have AI hosts.
Oh God.
And co-hosts and panelists.
Of course,
and all that stuff.
by then I'll be 70, and I don't know that I'll be. I don't know if I'll be around at 70.
Yeah, there's a good chance JR and I are going to be in the ground before then.
And in 25 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm already 51, Douglas.
I'll be in my 70s. Yeah.
I'm not in the prime of my life.
What are you, Sinatra? In the prime
No,
of my life.
I
Are you in the
I would-
September of your years?
No. Well, actually, no. Technically, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I was just looking for friends, and I found them with you two and many, many others. And I'm very glad that 25 years later, you guys are on the path with me.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Out of all the people that you've spoken to, from Spider-Man history, Sal Buscema, DeFalco, Stan Lee,
Yeah.
which has been the most not surprising or best, but which one has been the most satisfying, and why is the answer me?
Well, with the exception of George, before I started the website, I had met and talked to Stan Lee. So the obvious answer would be Stan Lee, but he predates the website. I met him before 1998.
Mm-hmm.
I met him in Chicago. I guess I would say like 1993 or 94. And he was walking, and I came up and I shook his hand and I said, "Stan, thank you for so many years of entertainment. I appreciate it." And he says, "Thanks, kid." And he walked on. That was, but I shook his hand and I'm like, "Oh my God, my life's not going to get any better." And it didn't. No, I'm just kidding. It did. But the one thing that I will never forget, and the Sal Buscema show is up there. However, when I was a kid in the 1980s, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was my favorite cartoon. And having the ability to get the voice actor of Spider-Man and the voice actress of Firestar together and do a recording with those two, the little 7-year-old kid that watched Amazing Friends would never have believed it. So I think that one was one of my favorites, and a close second is reuniting a couple cast members from the Spider-Man live action show. Nicholas Hammond and Ellen Brie together for the first time in 40 years on the Crawl Space. I mean, that was cool. That one, the Amazing Friends show was back when we just did audio. I think I need to have those two back so we can do video like we do. Because I'll just pass out. And if Iceman comes along, Fred Welker, which would be a big gift.
Frank. His name is Frank, not Fred.
I didn't say Fred. I said Frank, didn't I?
You said Fred. So I suggest you call him Frank if you're trying to get an interview with him.
Maybe I should get Ice. I'll just call him Bobby Drake, okay?
He's going to be like, I don't know who the hell Fred is.
Fred Welker.
Oh my God.
No, if I get all three Spider Friends together, that would be an epic show. But the Spider Friends episode is big on my list, and the 1970s live action Nicholas Hammond Alan Brie show was high up there.
I think as someone who started off as a fan first, and then became part of the show, my favorite thing that you've done on par like that was Sal Buscema's birthday.
Oh yeah.
And then you had brought on Stan, and I remember listening to that, and I was like, ah.
Well,
Stan was so good.
Oh, he didn't know we were recording. I don't think, because he was a little off the default stand. He was cussing a little bit, like, "Oh, Sal, how the hell are you, buddy?"
I like that though, because it's like, you get the real guy, right?
Yeah, we got the real guy. It was so.
And he
cool.
was funny. He brought the funny.
He did. He brought the funny. And rest in peace, Stan.
Rest in peace, Stan.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, George? Thank you for doing that, by the way. That was very nice.
No, I usually do it, around anniversaries.
I think you did that on the 20th anniversary or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it a lot. I talk too much.
It's all good. It's all good. What this show is, what we're going to do live callers on Saturday. But I thought for the 25th, let's do something different. Let's do something fun. We started the celebration off the other day, Friday night, with Marv Wolfman, the interview. So go back on the YouTube if you haven't listened to that. He told me something I didn't know, the origin of Jessica Drew's name and the origin of Felicia Hardy's name. So if you haven't listened to that episode, it's in there. I've never heard that online, so I thought that was cool. I thought for the 25th anniversary, we would share, because you guys give me a hard time about how I love covers. And how
in fairness, we'll give you a hard time about everything.
Well, every damn thing, yes.
Yeah.
But covers, I thought, what would make a fun show of sharing our favorite 25 in celebration of the crawl space, to our favorite 25 Spider-Man covers of all time. So what we're going to do, and I'll go first, and we're going to have JR go second, and George is the closer. We all picked out 25 different images of our favorite Spider-Man covers. We're going to show them. We'll talk about the artist and why we love these covers so much. And we're going to go like a David Letterman top 10 list, only it's a David Letterman top 25 list.
Hang on, you just contradicted yourself, because the instructions we were given, at least on Facebook, which JR can no longer see because he is a Luddite technophobe.
It wasn't on MySpace, so he didn't see it.
But you had said the last one was supposed to be like the one we didn't like.
Mm-mm.
Yes, you did. You put that up on Facebook. I mean, I ignored it, but you put it up on Facebook. Because it didn't make any sense to me, because I'm like, at what point on this scale do we start going into things that suck?
I don't know. Maybe it was a typo. But number one is the one that we love the most. Okay? So, all right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay.
I get you. I'm just saying I like all these covers, because
I do too.
The homework assignment didn't make any sense to me. I was like, well, at what point do I move from, hey, I like this, to, oh boy, this isn't great?
Here's my second favorite cover of all time, and here's the number one that sucks the most. That's what we're gonna do.
No, so, hang on. Let me see this. Let's do it by number 25, your least favorite of the group. You know what? Brad, I'm gonna take back my attack.
Is it a gift? Are you taking back your criticism?
Well, I think in this sense, it's on me, since you're like, let's do it by number 25, your least favorite of the group, but you didn't actually say number 25 would be one that you think sucks. So that was me misinterpreting your instructions, okay. Brad. I'm sorry.
Come here. No, just kidding. Hey, Texas, that's all right. All right, let's get this show rolling, all right? Let's get some covers up, all right? My 25th favorite cover is from a man that we just talked about. Let me get this over here and so you guys can see it. Not many people talk about this cover. I just love it back in the day. I'm not going to put it up just yet. Back in the day, I used to get subscriptions through Marvel. They used to arrive in the mailbox in a brown paper sack. They were small, so they couldn't have been a Playboy. But the mailbox, they were held together with two pieces of tape on the top and the bottom. And this one, when it came out of the brown paper sack, I said, oh, man, I love that one. So this is Spectacular Spider-Man number 142 by Sal Buscema. Look at that perspective.
That was a good story, too.
It was. Spider-Man looks just defeated by Tombstone. The perspective going down by Sal is just so good. Came out, looks like in 1988, Spectacular Spider-Man 142, action in Atlanta. Atlanta down there.
I also have a Sal cover in my in my choosings.
Very good. So that is my 25th favorite cover. You guys like, George, you like that one? And JR, you like that one?
I like it because it reminds me of one of those, because I often say Spectacular and like the off books, a lot of times you would find better personal stories in the off books than you were finding in Amazing. Things that were significant, not just, throwaway stuff like, oh, hey, Randy likes marshmallows. Not like that, right? And this was one of them, that dealt with Robbie. And I've always enjoyed the Tombstone Robbie stuff. It's always it's worked for me. I've always been into it. It's compelling.
Nice comment from here. Lord President says that I remember first listening to the Crawl Space and visiting frequently in the 8th grade. I've graduated college and moved out on my own since then, and the Crawl Space has been there. So 25 years is a long time, Lord President. So thanks for being with us.
Quarter century, as it turns out.
It is. All right, my 24th is a John Romita Sr. cover. Again, look at the detail behind Spider-Man and the Vulture. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, 64. The Vulture's Prey is my 24th favorite cover. This is when Romita is hitting his stride. He was trying to emulate Ditko because he was replacing him. But this is when Romita says, you know what? I'm going to make it my book now. I'm going to give it what I've got. This is the spin I got on it. And his stuff around this time is just amazing. Literally. So, any thoughts on that one, fellas? You like that one too?
It's a good one.
All right. My 23rd is this one from, I think, is that Ross Andrew or is that Gil Kane? I think that's Ross Andrew.
I think it probably is Ross.
I think it's Ross Andrew. JR for the win, Ross Andrew?
I would guess so, but I'm not sure.
Or is it Romita? I think it's a little bit of Romita and a little bit of Ross Andrew, personally. But Amazing Spider-Man 178. Aunt May again in the hospital. Mary Jane is got a rag on her head, trying to cool her temperature, and outside you got Spidey fighting Bart Hamilton, right, JR? That's the Bart Hamilton.
That's right.
Green Goblin. Some of the best Spider-Man stories are when his personal life interferes with his superhero life. And that sums it up on that cover. I remember as a kid, I couldn't wait to read that one. That one came in a 3-pack. Back when Marvel put 3 comic books in one little bag you could buy for under $1. I think this one came with a Hulk and a Captain America comic. And I loved all 3.
3 comics for under
$1, I think.
Under $1. And nowadays they put 3 comics into a bag. It's going to cost you probably like 10 or 12.
A mortgage. Yeah.
and more coming in the 4th quarter of this year. I mean,
prices are going up to $4.99 for Spider-Man books. You believe that, George?
They
have been $3.99 for a decade, though. I mean, that's a pretty long run, but still.
Well, some of them have, but then other ones have been $4.99, and then some of them have been like $10.
Wow.
Sometimes the point is it's not so much how much it costs, but is it worth what you're paying for? And there's definitely a threshold on what a comic book is worth. Even a decent comic book, $5 is pushing it. Really
all right.
is.
I mean, here's the thing though, JR. They know that you guys will buy $10.
Yeah,
you guys
we have in the past. Yep.
Yeah.
My 22nd favorite cover is a Ditko. Amazing Spider-Man number 18. I didn't actually see this one on the newsstand. I saw it in Marvel Tales, And when I saw this one, I'm like, why is Spider-Man a coward? Why is he hiding in an alley away from the Sandman? I could not believe that my favorite hero was a coward. And that made me buy the book and read it. So,
Wasn't this the issue where Sandman had punched Spider-Man in the Tic Tacs?
well, that
And
doesn't
that's
narrow it down.
and that's why he was like hiding out in an alley. Like, oh God, I want to take another shot to the croutons.
Only the croutons. Only Mighty Marvel would attempt such a tale. The end of Spider-Man, the story you never expected to read. Why does Spider-Man cringe in helpless fear as the evil Sandman stalks the city streets? Be prepared for countless surprises. Is a great dramatic offbeat issue. So that one has a lot of these may not be visually the best, but they have emotional things with me. And it takes me back to a time to the spinner rack and saying, wow, I've got to read that now. I've got to plop down the 60 cents or whatever Marvel Tales was.
Yeah.
That's my 22nd. 21. Again, this one came in the mail. This is Web of Spider-Man number 32. This is part 4. You see this one homaged a lot. Spider-Man coming out of the grave that Craven planted him in. Web 32, Mike Zeck, J.M. DeMatteis writing it. Just love that cover. Just Mike Zeck is one of my favorites. And I've got another Mike Zeck on my list coming up.
And it was a good story.
It was.
It was a good story with an unfortunate legacy, I think.
It was the first time that the same writer and artist did all 3 Spider-Man titles in the same month. So you had 3 chapters each month for 2 months together. So
and then you've had a lot of writers come back and try to clumsily ape this.
Oh yeah,
throughout the years.
But yeah, this one arrived in the mailbox. Could not read it fast enough. Love this one. My 20th favorite cover is another Romita Sr. This one I heard about through the editor's pages, editor's notes. Remember when Gwen Stacy died in 121? I didn't actually have the Marvel Tales. I had to go to a comic show and buy this.
Oh, oops, spoilers.
Oh, sorry. 50,
no,
50 years later.
No, I'm saying you got spoiled.
I know, right? But again, the floating heads, who's going to die? It's a turning point. Someone's going to die. Who's it going to be? I can't imagine back in 1973, that anyone would suspect Gwen. So
I think most people's money was probably on Randy.
Yeah.
Just because out of all the characters that have been around forever and are more well known, Randy's kind of sticking out like a sore thumb there, going, "Hey, I don't really matter all that."
JR, did you pick this up off the stands in '73?
No, I did too early. Just it was about a year too early before I started collecting full time.
Yeah. Plus, he was on his 3rd divorce by then.
Yeah, that's right. I had too many alimony checks going. I couldn't afford it.
I was tempted with the issue after it, but this one I think is just a little bit more iconic. Personally, it may be on someone else's list, 122, but 121 I think is.
I got one close to it, but it's not that one.
Yeah. All right, my 19th favorite comic cover is issue 100 by John Romita Sr. Again, just a beautiful pose of Spider-Man and the floating heads of his cast over the last 100 issues. This one's been homaged so many times, but the master, John Romita, did such a good job on it. So, any thoughts on that one, fellas?
No, that is a great cover. I mean,
beautiful.
And they've done variations of it, like Doc Ock when he became Spider-Man or whatever, they did him in that particular pose, I think, or with that background or something like that. So,
yeah, love that one. All right, my 18th favorite cover is my most recent one that I put up here, volume 6 of Spider-Man, legacy number 856. This is by Patrick Gleason. It's the spider forming the web and the shape of Spider-Man's torso and head. I actually like that one so much. I recently got an Apple Watch, and that is the image on my Apple Watch. I love that image so much. I should have bought the poster, but that's my most recent. And one thing, fellas, that they do nowadays, the covers often don't tell you what's inside. It's more of a pinup. What can they repurpose this image for calendars or T-shirts or etc.? This is an example of that, I think. But anyway, I thought you guys like this one, don't you? I mean, this is a modern classic.
I like
Oh, yeah.
Gleason's art, but I don't have anything in here on my list, I think, from like the 2000s onward. I may be
Yeah.
wrong, but I don't think I do.
Jay, are you got any modern stuff, or is this the most modern we'll do tonight?
No, I do. I don't
Oh,
want to
good.
don't want to spoil anything, but
Okay.
yeah, I do.
Got it.
Oh, I do have a modern comic on here. My bad.
All right, my 17th favorite book is John Romita Jr. Back in 1999, Howard Mackey and John Romita Jr. relaunched Peter Parker Spider-Man. The interior wasn't as good as the cover, I thought, but I love this shot of Spider-Man above New York, just on a giant web. I've always liked this from 1999. I actually have this in the Crawl Space admin. I've never changed it because I just love this picture so much. But Spider-Man, and this one was so much better than the Byrne one. The Byrne one on Amazing wasn't as good as this one, I think, personally. But, all right, so my 16th favorite cover is our pal Sal. My second Sal Buscema cover that I love from Spectacular Spider-Man number 200. This was a foil variant. The webs in the background had foil. Just an all-around classic Spider-Man tale too inside the cover.
It's a beautiful cover.
It is. It is. You guys miss the little the foil and the gimmicky stuff. I mean,
No,
I thought it was
not at
kind of
all.
cool. No, you
I don't
don't.
think so. I didn't need all
They're
that
kind of
crap.
bringing it back with the silver covers.
Well,
they're
of
like
course they are.
$9 though.
They know they can charge you $10 or $12 for them, and you'll buy them.
Yeah, I mean,
That's.
but what about the
so why not do
holograms
it?
on the 30th anniversary? I thought those were cool.
I could take them or leave them. They didn't. I didn't go. Wow, look at this. I was just like, okay.
I don't like the holograms that much because it's like, oh, okay, oh, there's Spider-Man, there he is. You know,
you gotta turn your head.
yeah.
To me, gimmicky stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't count like the tinfoil in the background as gimmicky. I mean, that's just on this one. I didn't look at that and consider it gimmicky. But like stuff like, like the one where Aunt May died, you had the hologram on the cover, and then you had the holograms on the other covers.
Well, no, the one Aunt May died was a tombstone that she had to bend back.
Oh yeah, the tombstone. See, well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
still a gimmicky cover though.
It is. Yeah.
But to me, gimmicky covers, and DC was doing them too back in the 90s.
Yeah, they
a
sold.
lot. They sold, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, if the story is good enough, you don't have to have a damn gimmick to sell the book.
It's true.
So when I see gimmicky covers, that usually tells me, this is probably a spare story,
Not this one though. This is an
No,
all-time
not this
Spider-Man
one.
classic.
Not
Spec
this one.
200.
This
That's
one
my
was great.
16th favorite cover. Number 15, another Romita classic, ASM 50, with Spider-Man looking back at Peter Parker walking away from him. Spider-Man No More. Just the colors and the shading, and it's minimal. I mean, there's not much on there. It's just your eyes dead center between the two characters that look like they're splitting up, and that is indicative of what's going on inside the book. So this one's been homaged a lot. Even his son, Romita Jr., has homaged this recently on a variant. So, all right, my 14th favorite cover is another Romita. Are you noticing a theme? The wedding issue. I picked the one with Peter over the one with Spider-Man and the heroes because I think this one, Spider-Man's supporting cast. I mean,
Well, at the time, I mean, Peter Parker's getting married, not Spider-Man.
exactly. Right.
And so the wedding with all the superheroes and everything, that didn't really make any sense because none of these
Right.
people know who Peter Parker is or that he's getting married. None of them were at the
Right.
wedding.
By the way, who is this guy with gray hair by Aunt Anna? Who is that guy? I'm just now noticing that. Is he the preacher?
No, preachers don't wear bow ties.
George, who's this guy next to Aunt Anna?
I don't know. TV's Captain Kangaroo.
I don't think Chat.
Bob
Who is this
Keeson?
guy? Help me out, Chat. Who's that guy next to Aunt Anna over there by Liz and Harry?
Should be Colonel Sanders. Maybe
Colonel
Anna was dating
Sanders,
Colonel
yeah,
Sanders.
Winnipeg, and
That'd be
that's
cute.
not
that's the
Kane.
winner.
Aunt Anna's boy toy. What?
Ooh, it's the guy that played Larry Tate from Bewitched.
Anna's +1.
And George, he played, not only did he play Larry Tate, he also played J. Jonah Jameson in the first CBS Spider-Man movie.
And I
It's the
cannot remember
comedian.
his name. And I saw so
David
many-
White.
David
I
White.
Wow.
That would make sense. He had shocking white hair.
Well,
He
He
was
was
funny.
definitely one of those identifiable character actors from the 60s and 70s. Definitely.
Larry was
it's-
always one of my favorite on Bewitched because
Oh,
like
he's the judge who married the couple in the story. Okay, thanks, Jay.
anytime you saw Larry on Bewitched, you know something funny was about to go down.
All right, my 13th favorite cover is a Romita Jr. cover. ASM 238 of the Hobgoblin ripping the costume in half. And you're wondering, who is this mysterious new character that looks a lot like the Green Goblin? This one off the spinner rack is where I bought that one. And I was a dummy and I ripped out the lakeside skin tattoos that were inside of it because I'm like, I wonder if these tattoos were. I was like 7, 8. Little did I know it decreased the value. But if memory serves, when you open that book, it's John Romita Jr. and his dad is doing the inks. So it's such a classic style when you open 238. Bless you.
Thank you.
And this cover again has been homaged a lot, but love ASM 238. My 12th favorite cover, Hulk. Here comes the Hulk. Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 3, where the Avengers were like, hey, you want to join the Avengers? Go whoop the Hulk's ass. Yeah, those guys were jerks. You don't need to be on that team, Spidey. But man, made for a fun story, made for a fun cover.
I love this because Spider-Man shows up, and after they find him after they found Daredevil first.
Yeah.
I always loved this because they threw the Daredevil thing in just to like kind of put their thumb down on Daredevil a little bit. I was like, why do you guys hate Daredevil? But they find Daredevil, like, oh, Daredevil, thank God we find you. Yeah, we need your help. This is urgent. We need to find Spider-Man because we're trying to make him an Avenger. And Daredevil's probably, like, oh, okay. What am I?
Mhm.
And so, then they find Spider-Man and they're like, yeah, we're thinking about letting you in. And Spider-Man's like, all right, whose ass do I beat first?
The Hulk.
Literally,
done.
that's how he is. Whose ass do I beat first? And then he just starts fighting all of them.
Mhm.
And the only reason it keeps going is because Thor chooses to not get involved because he's probably amused.
I like what chat is doing. They're predicting Brad's going to have ASM 119 and 120. Brad's going to have McFarlane ASM 328. You'll have to stay and find out if there's more Hulks.
George, I always thought about that too, because I think Thor and Captain America are just kind of standing by. And I always rationalized it as, Tony Stark was kind of acting like a jerk as well, and
That tracks.
and I think they just kind of sat back and said, all right, let's just see how this plays out.
I took it as kind of like maybe Thor and Captain America were like, you know what? Maybe let's let somebody take Iron Man down a peg or two. He's kind of an annoying asshole. How about we enjoy just sitting back and watching somebody beat his ass?
All right.
That's the way he acted. He like he said, he just snapped at Spider-Man and said, we could think better if you weren't down here breathing down our necks or something. And, I'm thinking Thor said, all right, you asshole, we'll just see what this kid can do.
Yeah.
All right, number 11 for me is another Hulk, but Ditko. This one, again, we were talking about emotional connections, and this one was a Marvel Tales that I got. I was probably in the 2nd grade or something like that, and my 2 favorite guys are on the cover, and I had to open it. ASM 14, the first appearance of the Goblin. Also, the first time Spider-Man meets the Hulk.
I'm just now realizing that this cover looks like the Green Goblin's trying to burn Spider-Man's wiener off.
Well,
Damn.
well, there's the quote of the night. Yeah.
While he's flying on a phallic symbol himself.
Let's move on quickly. My 10th favorite, John Byrne cover. Uses of blacks and whites in this art. Peter Parker Spec 100. The black costume looks so cool on this. I don't even remember what the story was about. This was an example.
And
Yeah.
and this cover is incorrect.
Why?
The souls of Spider-Man's black costume were
Oh.
not white.
They were black, weren't they? Yeah.
They were black. But then that wouldn't have worked here.
Yeah. But just the use of colors, two colors in there. Well, they should have made that yellow text black and white too, shouldn't they? That yellow text just kind of throws it. But John Byrne, again, doing just a pinup. It had really nothing to do. I'm not even sure he's in the black costume in this issue. But this image is so iconic, such a beautiful cover.
That is, but that's definitely the black costume though.
Yeah.
Because look at the spider on it.
Right. It's the symbiote he's wearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, we're into the top 10. That was my number 10. Here comes number 9. My first Ron Friends on the list. He ranks pretty high because I was all in it for the symbiote costume story. As JR well knows, and so does George, I love Secret Wars. And
I suspect there's gonna be a lot of Friends on everyone's lists.
Yeah, Friends is just amazing, literally. But this one particularly, I love this one because he's literally, what suit's he gonna wear? The black one's trying to kill him. The red one wants back. He's fighting between two costumes. So I just love the visual of this one. So good.
They should have filmed the Fantastic Four paper bag costume in there, like choke holding him or something.
Bagman choking him. Can you imagine what the modern cover of this would be like? Like the thousands of different costumes trying to choke him, like he's worn over the years.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't fit them all on one. The only person who could have fit them on one page would be George Perez, and unfortunately, he's passed on.
But at the time, there were just 2 costumes for Spider-Man, and these were it. And this was the battle.
I still preferred it when there was just the one.
Yeah, but the black was cool at the time, though, wasn't it?
Black. Yeah, at the time, the black was big news.
It was.
Because it was the first one, and because it was something that hadn't been done before. And now, today, it's been done 27 billion times.
They keep going back to the well, man. They keep going back to the well.
Yeah.
That was my number 9. My number 8 is Spectacular, the magazine from 1968 by John Romita Sr. A spotlight on Spidey in New York. I think this is painted. I don't think this is pencil. I could be wrong.
Well, even when it's painted,
yeah.
There's usually some penciling involved prior.
Right. But this, they wanted to hit a different market. Stan and John, they wanted to hit the magazine market. They wanted to sell these books for 35 cents, put them next to what? I don't know. National Geographic, Life magazine. And
no, things like Crazy and Cracked, and there was a lot of other companies putting out black and white mags back then that were like comics based.
But you can't deny that cover jumps. That jumps out at you. You got to get that off the newsstand. So I love that image.
Plus, when Marvel themselves did the black and white mag for Savage Sword of Conan, that thing was a huge success.
Yeah, love that one. My number 7 is McFarlane, Amazing Spider-Man 316. I have a statue of this one. I love this one so much. Venom hovering over Spider-Man with some blood on his fingers. Venom is back. I was am a huge Spider-Man McFarlane fan. And I just love this one because if memory serves, we saw him in issue 300, and then this was his second time coming around. And by that time, I was pumped to see the return of Venom. If you notice, the tongue is not long. That Eric Larson hasn't touched him yet. That sounds odd. But I love the hovering. This one has been homaged so many times. Like a lot of these famous covers have been homaged. But I know George is not a big Venom fan. Neither is JR. Were you excited in 1989 when this came out? Were you excited to see Venom's second appearance?
No.
Was I excited to see Venom? That pretty much
I was.
answers itself. Yeah.
I was. All right, my number 6 favorite cover is ASM 300 by Todd McFarlane. Again, 25th anniversary, the first full appearance of Venom. I got to see this at the Kansas City exhibit. I saw the original pencils for this, and it's just so beautiful. I love the spaghetti webbing, as they call it, that McFarlane did. Just a classic pose of
It
Spider-Man.
was the webbing was so extra.
Is that a good thing or bad? I love that.
Today that's the kids, as the kids would say, that's kind of a negative connotation. There
The
were
original
times-
webbing is just a line with some slashes through it. That gives
Yeah.
it a little like it's spinning out of a tube, I think.
a lot of times I thought these were too busy. I thought they kind of distracted from what was going on. Like there is a point where you can get so much detail
Yeah.
that visually you're getting pulled out of the story because you're
Right.
noticing all these little things instead of following along what's going on in the story.
But that's my sixth favorite. Here comes number 5. Yep, you guessed it. Hulk 328. Amazing Spider-Man 328 with Spider-Man punching the Hulk in the junk.
Yeah, this isn't your Hulk. This isn't your Hulk podcast, Brad. That you've got on the side. This is.
I love the Acts of Vengeance crossover. It pitted heroes against people that they don't normally fight, but I like the spin on this because I've been reading Hulk and Spidey fights for a long time. I've never seen Spidey so strong that he could take on the Hulk and win easily.
I like that it
happened
had
with this one.
Kevin Bacon in it,
Kevin Bacon's in this.
plus the mutant menace of Sebastian Shaw right down there
Shaw,
in the bottom right.
Spidey punched him so far, so hard that he went up in orbit.
Yep.
I love when the logo gets smashed too. I think that's cool. The little corner box is shattered over on the left. I love that one. Could not wait. I think I bought 2 copies of that one. I was so excited.
I remember wondering why the Tongue's Hulk was green. Like, did he eat like a lime Slurpee or something before he fought Spider-Man?
Or maybe a apple Jolly Rancher. That'll do it.
An apple's not going to color your tongue green.
Yep.
Brad Douglas.
Number 4 is Mike Zeck, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 8, with the first cover appearance of the black suited Spider-Man. Among the chaos, there comes a costume. Again,
wait, hang on. Was this the first, or was 252 the first?
You're right. 252 was the first cover. This one came out several months later.
Yeah, because we were
252.
like, what the hell is this thing? What's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
And I was so excited I'm like, I got to find out the origin of the black suit. I got to find out the origin. This is it. Oh, look at this. I couldn't wait to read it. Little did I know it came out of a soda dispenser.
It came out of a coffee machine.
Yeah,
Little
just a little
coffee
turd that dropped
machine.
out of a coffee machine.
A little turd that dropped out of
Medium roast, dark roast, living being.
a symbiote. If only Thor and the Hulk weren't such a jerk and they would have shown him where he could get a legitimate costume, we would have been spared so many black costume and symbiotes over the years. That's my number 4.
Damn it, Hulk.
Damn it, Thor. Damn it, Hulk. Again, a lot of emotional ties with this one. This may not just be the coolest cover, but to me, I loved it. Number 3, again, emotional ties. Marvel Team Up Annual number 2, Spider-Man the Hulk and Spider-Man holding the balls apart on the cover.
Wow.
This was my first comic book. This is what started it. This is what made me love Spidey and Hulk. I saw Spider-Man on the television. I saw Hulk with Bill Bixby. I'm like, they have additional stories in these things called comic books. Yeah, this one did it. And I started at 75 cents. This was an expensive one back in 79.
Well, there's an annual.
It wasn't annual, so it was thick. And it had the Soviet super soldiers in it, if memory serves. And guess who the artist inside this is? This is Al Milgrom doing the cover, but guess who is the penciler inside? Our pal Sal. Our pal Sal
really?
drew the first Spider-Man Hulk story I ever read.
I did not know that.
Yep. And I think Chris Claremont wrote this, if memory serves.
Probably.
So,
It's
again,
Team Up, it was probably Claremont.
this one, again, may not be the best visual, but to me, this started the journey. This has the emotional connection for me.
You just like Spider-Man holding apart big balls.
I did. And he was like, I got to hold these balls apart. I don't care if the Hulk's behind me.
I can't let these big balls touch.
I like big balls. You like big. Okay.
Damn,
We've
Brad.
got number 2
Damn. God almighty.
is McFarlane's number 1, Spider-Man. There's multiple variants of this one. I like the gold one. I think the silver one just pops. I I love that cover. I don't know what it is. It's the McFarlane love that I've got, but I love Spider-Man #1 from 1990. The Legend of the Arachnite. Doom, doom, doom. The story wasn't that great, but
The
even
story
Todd,
was bad.
Todd McFarlane even says, you know what?
Let's
I
call it
was
what it
learning how to
was.
write.
Yeah, the story was not great.
I used to love the little fine detail too under McFarlane's signature. He used to put a number under it. Like if there were 3, that meant that there were 3 spiders hidden on the cover. There are so many spiders on this cover, he put a question mark. But I love this one, albeit how many variants we got for this one? We got the green, we got the silver, we got the gold, we've got the one with the barcode, we've got the one with this one. We got one with the blue lizard inside with a printing error. We got the platinum edition that was only sent to retailers. So many variations of this one. But I love this one. All right, we ready?
No, about this, I had the gold one as well.
Yeah, I like the gold one
because the gold one to me was seemed classy, like a fancy painting in a whorehouse.
Wait a minute, it's like a
you
fancy.
spent enough time in them
We're
to know,
not
right?
glossing over that. That's like a fancy painting in a whorehouse. Is that what you're saying?
I said it was classy, like a fancy painting in a whorehouse.
I was about to say, just how many whorehouses have you been to, George, so you can make that comparison?
Only the ones I've seen in the movies, JR.
Oh,
All right, so where this says Arachnite, this is a thing that they used for a while.
Yeah,
And it never caught on. I kind of thought it was kind of cheesy because I thought they were trying to make him like, oh, you've got Batman and he's like the Dark Knight, but this is the Arachnite because he's Spider.
Arachnite.
And I always thought about it, and I was like, dude, people know who Spider-Man is. Just because Batman is huge doesn't mean people have forgotten who Spider-Man is. Stop it.
Also, you remember the non-mutant superhero? Remember they put that on the cover?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready for my #1? My #1 favorite Spider-Man cover of all time is... It's a variant. It's a variant by John Romita Jr. and John Romita Sr. for the relaunch of Spider-Man, Peter Parker's Spider-Man #1 from January 1999. I've actually got a print on my wall of this. It's Spider-Man in the rain. No one does rain like Romita Jr. And it's just Spider-Man on the top of a building or top of a dome or something like that. Just
all I can think about is how much bullshit gets started up in 2 years from this, in less than 2 years from this issue.
But this was big. Spider-Man had never been relaunched before, and this was a new #1.
And it shouldn't have been.
I agree. However, both the covers for this relaunch are 2 of my all-time favorite covers of all time. And
everybody else is doing it is not a good reason to do it.
I know. And also, if you look down here, the Romitas. So right there. So I absolutely love that cover. That on our old Crawl Space message board for years, that was my avatar. For years, when it said BD and I'd post something, you'd see that image. That's my all-time favorite Spider-Man image. So I've been looking away from chat for a minute, so let me minimize this.
We're about to get 400,000 pop-up messages across here.
Great cover. You can do an entire 25 list of JR rain covers, and I'd love all of them. Spider-Man in the rain. I got to remake a cosplay photo of that.
How do you cosplay Spidey in the rain?
Well, you need a hose.
Do you carry like a gallon jug of water and just whenever somebody wants to take a picture?
Josh is saying he doesn't really like the big McFarlane eyes. I can understand that. Yeah. I like all eyes. I like Romita's smaller eyes. I'm an eye man.
You're a fan of Spider-Man's eye phase?
Yeah. Hornacek, yes, I did buy 6 copies of Spider-Man 1990. No, I think I bought 10 copies. Don't you undershot
Brad Douglas.
Back in 1990, bro. I did buy 10 copies of the silver and the green.
You should have taken that money and just wiped your ass with it.
Let's see. Sissy Ironwood, damn it. Yep, Sissy was in that Marvel Team Up annual, Thomas. That's true. Good night and big balls. JR's disgust of Secret Wars is palpable. I'm assuming is what they're talking about.
That's a JR problem.
Brad probably has the most black suit covers in his list. I bet you I do. I bet you these
Yeah.
fellows don't have many as many black suit ones. Steve says that Michael Golden was doing the spaghetti webbing back in '82. But the only Michael Golden Spider-Man I remember is Marvel Fanfare. So maybe that's what he was referencing.
I think he did another. It may have been somebody different, but I want to say he did there was a Spider-Man. There was a Spider-Man Scarlet Witch story in Marvel Fanfare that happened after that one that he did with Spider-Man and Hulk, and I think maybe he did that one, but I can't remember.
How many issues did Spidey wear the symbiote suit? From what I recall, it wasn't too long because I think most of the Falco friends. He wore it, think, for not even a full year. It was a symbiote.
It was about half a year.
Yeah, because it was issue 252 to 259 of Amazing. However, he also had the symbiote on in Marvel Team Up, and he also had the symbiote on in Spec too. And he guest starred in the Transformers of all places. He was wearing the real symbiote, but then the Black Cat made him a cloth one. So you saw it alternate a lot in the 80s. So, let's see. All right. Go down to the new comments. Josh says that is a monumental waste of money, Brett. I say that as a comic fanatic. Dude, they were $1.75 back in 1990. If I spent $5 now, that would be a waste of money.
Yeah, but see, Brad, that's the thing, though. That was back in 1990. That money was worth a lot more than it is today.
Yeah. All right. JR.
I wish I had $10 worth of 1990 money right now.
JR, you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. I'm going to pop yours up on the screen. Here is JR's top 25 favorite Spider-Man covers. He starts with.
Okay. Let me resize this a little bit, I think. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, basically not being the technological Luddite that I am, I just slapped them on a Word document and then just scroll down. Just kind of a few caveats here. I mean, yes, unfortunately, Gary in the Frozen has already pointed out that I'm going to be very predictable in this list. All right, Winnipeg Webhead, you're going to be old sometime too. You're going to be old sometime too, and and your kids are going to make fun of you, like, yeah, Dad. Anyway, this and some of the I guess a few rules here. One, sometimes if they just caught my attention, or two, you can almost be guaranteed that if Alex Ross and Green Goblin are together, you're going to see them. Variants count if I actually have the variant. Okay. So just a few caveats there. Fortunately, Brad and I only duplicated on a couple. Okay. So we'll see here. But anyway, this one, and one more caveat. It's kind of like Billy Joel when he was asked what his favorite song and worst song was. And he said, well, it changes every day. So, take some of these that I kicked off the list may wind up showing up depending on my mood. But anyway, the reason this is... Sorry.
Real quick, Hornacek is saying click the little arrow to the right so it minimizes the top bar so you get more image. See the up bar? Right. Yeah,
it's
to your right. To your right. Far right.
Far right. It's right over the
by the scroller.
By the
scroller. Keep going to the right.
There you go.
Down.
Down.
Down. No. Down. Up. Yeah, there. Up.
There
you
go.
Up. It's like we're doing surgery. There it is.
Right there.
Up. Right above your up button.
Or no, I'm sorry. That's my mouse pointer.
There, right there.
There we
go. Hornacek, we did it.
Oh God.
Next time, just make it a PowerPoint.
I almost did.
Oh my God, that's
I believe
so funny.
You guys.
By the way, for
our audio, you guys can burn in hell. You know that.
Wow, we aren't even on number 25 yet, and he's burning us in hell. For our audio listeners, JR, be sure to say what issue number and what series.
Right. And Brad will probably have to help me with the artist because that's not something I pay attention to.
That's Romita Senior right there.
Anyway, number 25, it's Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, number 75. And it is the cover where as we learn in the issue, this is where Silvermane drinks what the formula that was described in the Tablet of Time.
Right.
The reason I picked this one is I originally I bought it, the Marvel Tales version, and the Marvel Tales, when they did Marvel Tales, they changed these covers up a little bit, and the Marvel Tales version I think was white. So when I was scrolling through covers and I saw this, because it was black, the black background, it was just, to me, it really popped. It was just so stark. Spidey's red and blue against a black background, and then you also see him in the mirror. So he's like, or in the glass. So he's walking towards you, and in the mirror, he's walking away. So I thought that was just a pretty cool image.
And Spidey's first cover facepalm.
Yeah. Number 24.
We actually have that on our Discord.
Yeah, they've made posters of that before too.
Well, it's some people have used it for like avatars and things before. I used it on my Crawlspace Twitter, the Twitter I was using for Crawlspace years ago.
Yep. The Romita Senior.
All right. Number 24 is Amazing Spider-Man number 112. For the audio listeners, it's the one where Spider-Man there's a large image of Spider-Man, and in the foreground, people are beating the hell out of each other, and Spider-Man is basically saying, "Go ahead, kill each other. I don't care anymore." And the reason I always like it when Spidey gets mad, but I just remember I didn't buy this off the shelves originally, but I do remember seeing it as a kid, and I remember walking by and wow, man, I got to have that one. Ah, crap, I don't have 20 cents, So, it was the early 70s. What can I say?
Yeah.
So anyway, that one always stuck out to me, just he's basically telling the whole world to go piss off. So number 23. All right. It is Amazing Spider-Man number 262. This is a photo cover. In fact, I think it was the first Amazing Spider-Man photo cover. And I believe that is actor / stuntman.
Scott Silva? Or is that it?
No, but it's Scott something, I think. Scott Leva, I think.
That's right.
Leva, who I think also, if you have the on one of the X-Men, the original X-Men movie extras, when they're filming a scene and then Spider-Man runs into the shot.
Also, if memory serves, isn't he on the Canon poster where he's in a pose with the?
Yes.
Well, he was supposed to play Spider-Man in the Canon films.
Yep.
Yeah, that never got.
Scott Leva, says Vinkman. Yep, that's right. Yep.
But I was a college student in Terre Haute, Indiana at the time, and I was going through one of my down periods of like, shit, I ain't got much money. I'm just a poor college student. I ain't gonna buy Spider-Man for a while. And I didn't actually for several issues after this, but I was just in the shop and, oh, wow, I got to have this. Even though the story is totally unmemorable. I just remember saying, I have to have this because of that cover. So
you remember the Marvel, this one was the best of the bunch. If memory serves, I didn't care for the Captain America Marvel team up one.
Oh, no, that was awful. That almost looked like it was traced or something.
I know. And then there was one it was Spider-Woman's last issue where she had like people on the balcony of her villains. They actually made cosplay for these. And Spider-Woman's up on a wall. Was there another one after that one? I can't remember if there's more than.
Remember.
But yeah, this one was the best of the bunch.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's basically, and it's the story is a photographer, a sleazy photographer takes a picture of Peter while he's in mid-change. And so that's what this this cover is. But yeah, for me, it was a real attention getter. And I said, gotta have it.
Remember that one.
Number 22.
Humberto Ramos? Really?
It is a Humberto Ramos cover.
No, I would not have suspected that, JR.
It is Amazing Spider-Man number 671. It is one of the Spider Island. There are just some things you can't, it's like songs, or I just like it. I can't explain it. But, Mary Jane in her underwear with white stockings on a wall, she's got spider, this is when everybody got spider powers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
How does that song sound like in your head? Is it porn music? Is it like the theme to Debbie Does Dallas?
It's definitely somewhat,
boom.
It is definitely somewhat
Jon-
lurid, I
Jonathan
must
has the
say.
best. JR is bringing sexy back. Hornacek, JR chooses Humberto Ramos as today opposite day. I thought JR hated that guy. The chat is going
well,
nuts.
okay. First of all, I don't hate the man personally. I just
Well, yeah.
never was a fan of his art. Although there are sometimes he does. I think there are certain images he does well. Like I think when we were talking about issue 800 with little evil Normie who's about to change into the Carnage symbiote. There's a few image, and I just like this one. And I like Mary Jane. I like Mary Jane when she's very girl next doorish. I don't like supermodel MJ. I like the girl next door. And this just, a very sexy, underdressed girl next door, but the girl next door nonetheless.
Maybe it's on someone's list, but it almost made my top 25. It was a Romita Senior Annual, number 19 of Amazing, where Mary Jane's got the spider suit and she's doing a Superman. I almost put that on my list because I really like that cover a lot too.
I almost put that on my list, but I wanted to focus on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oops. Number 21 is issue 601, and it's a variant.
It's a dirty variant.
It is another Mary Jane cover. And it is one that I have. Like I said, if I have the variants, I'll include them. Again, this is just a very, very sharp, classic Mary Jane look, very again, girl next door, and I just think she looks sharp in the boots and the dress pants, and it's just
also the 25th anniversary homage going around the border. Which I'm not sure what anniversary year that was. Maybe 50.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like 35. There was like a whole series of Mary Jane covers that came out. It was early in the Brand New Day era. Even though they wanted to get rid of Mary Jane, I think they can't avoid her because she's just too popular.
She sells variants.
Yeah, but so does Gwen, and Gwen's dead.
Yeah. Number 20, Web of Spider-Man, number 13.
Oh, that's a good one.
Spidey Goes Berserk. This is where the story is where, and I think it's by Peter David. The story is Spider-Man has just about had enough of Jonah's bullshit, and he's had enough, and he goes in and he's about to knock he really is about to knock Jonah's block off. But I just liked it. Again, I just thought the black costume, and I did like the black costume. I mean, I really did. Yeah. The black, I just think it looks great here. It pops out of that white background. It's just, I like it because, like I said, it just pops out. And like I said, I always like it when Spidey's had enough, when he's at the end of his rope. So that was number 20. Number 19.
Oh, yeah.
All righty. Amazing Spider-Man 250. That's we thought that the ID of the Hobgoblin was going to be revealed, and it wasn't. And then 251 happened, and it wasn't. But I just, basically it looks like a fight to the death. Fire surrounding them. The Goblin's eyes are flaring. A fight to the death. And I do like the little.
Me too.
It's great. Steal it.
Did you see the Romita Jr. homaging himself with the Green Goblin?
I have seen that. I don't have it though.
I pre-ordered that one. Yeah.
Number 18. All right, you guys probably all knew this was coming. Amazing Spider-Man number 39. Obviously, it's a major turning point for both Spider-Man and his greatest foe. And it's the first John Romita Sr. cover. Yeah. It is, like I said, this is the earliest issue I ever bought back when it was like $4. And like I've always told the story, my dad asked me what I bought at the comic shop, and I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want him to know that I spent $4 on a comic book. So that's the story there.
Hornacek is shocked that's your number 18.
Again,
I am too. I figured it would be higher.
See, when I was looking at all these 20, it just sometimes you just kind of throw them up and see where they land. I mean, it just, plus I was, running behind on some other things and was trying to get some other things done.
That's a good one.
This is this is number 17, Marvel's number 4. And again, Alex Ross. who can do no wrong in many cases. And again, it's the eye of Spider-Man, and within the lens is the Green Goblin with his hands around Gwen Stacy's throat. It's just a perfect image of that. Just kind of underscores the the rivalry and the hatred these two men have for each other, and how Norman he'll stop at nothing. He'll take everything from Spider-Man if he possibly can. So number 16.
Oh, that's a good one.
Amazing Spider-Man number 573. The last part of Newsways to Die. And it's Norman unmasked on his goblin glider with a fiery pumpkin and with murder in his eyes. Now, obviously, obviously you knew a lot of Goblin covers were going to be on here, but I think one of the reasons I like a lot of these Goblin covers is I think the green and purple just, when the green and purple and then Spider-Man's red and blue, primary and then like the secondary colors, I think it just pops. I just think it really looks good when all those colors are together.
Does the green and purple make his cornrows pop?
Those are red, George. Those are red. So, yeah. No, they don't. All right. What was he here? Number 15, Amazing Spider-Man number 312. This is McFarlane, the Green Goblin versus the Hobgoblin. Of course, it's the successors, not the original. It's the Harry Osborn Green Goblin and the Jason Macendale Hobgoblin. But it's McFarlane. It's the Green Goblin.
Spidey's barely on that.
Yeah. So that was always that again. That one was one when I was not buying Spider-Man at this time. But I got this one. It's like, oh crap, I gotta have that. So number 14. Now, this is one of my all-time favorites because obviously you know what happens here. The end of it is the last. It is the last part of the Clone Saga outside of like Osborn journals, and then I think kind of a wrap up the following issue with. This is John Romita Jr. I don't think it gets any better than this. His Green Goblin and facing off against Spider-Man.
It was the first appearance of Ben Reilly as Captain Flower.
This is one of your all-time favorite issues in general, not just the cover too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And the cover is a reason too. But it's Norman and Peter just beating the hell out of each other. It's very personal, and this is the issue where we fought. We always knew it, but it's the issue where it's pretty blatantly stated. This isn't about Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. It is about Peter Parker and Norman Osborn. Right. It is about two men who have dealt with the various tragedies of their lives in different ways. Spider-Man used his to ensure that nobody else had to suffer like he did, and he became a hero. And Norman used his tragedies to turn against the world. It's like, well, F you. If I got to hurt, you got to hurt too. So, anyway, one of my favorite, all-time favorites.
It's a great one.
Number 12. Now this is one, or number 13. This is one I had to because it's one of those, you open it all the way up. Yeah, the fold out, you open it all the way up. So the back of the cover, this is where after Norman appeared in Peter Parker 75 to finish off the Clone Saga, then this was our first appearance. Although he'd made a couple of one panel appearances, but this was the first time Norman Osborn was back to stay. And this was the back of the cover, some classic scenes from history, and then this was the front. First it was let's resize it.
Back to stay like herpes. I think you meant to scroll back up and then scroll to the right.
So,
no, he cut it in half.
You did? Oh.
Yeah, I cut it in half. Yeah.
You got Romita Jr. and Senior.
Oh, here we go.
Doing the same image there.
There we go. Yep. And anyway, but yeah, it's just two variations of the cover. One, the Shadow of the Goblin, and the other, again, and I think the advertising for this was Spider-Man's greatest enemy isn't the Green Goblin, it's Norman Osborn.
Right. And that's Spec 250, isn't it?
Yep, Spectacular Spider-Man 250.
The people art on here looks like they were drawn by in an Eastman and Laird comic, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
With all the rain.
No, with all just the way the people look, it looks
Oh,
like
okay.
it looks like they were pulled out of a Eastman Laird comic.
All right. Number 12, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5, number
Oh.
55. Now, I did not, because as my son continuously likes to ridicule me for, I do not reserve issues. I mean, I just don't. I bought issues off the rack spontaneously for 50 years. I'm not about to change. I don't have a pull list. And so I didn't get the first one that was white. But I got the one. Well, actually, I do like this one better. I just like the red. I
Really?
think there was a blue one, but I didn't get that one.
Oh, yeah,
But,
there's a bunch of different colors. Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of different colors, but this is volume 5, number 55, the spider web sketching of Spider-Man by the
It's
side.
our first repeat. That was on
Yep.
my list too.
Yep, our first repeat.
We've had lots of repeats. I haven't been calling them out from
Oh, okay.
my stuff.
Yeah. Uh-oh. All right. And then number 11 is Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, number 32. Although I called it 31, but it says 32.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second here. This is when
Ross.
Norman Osborn was trying to went to Tibet because he wanted to get magical powers. But the cover is Norman with the goblin fright mask that was in the monastery. He's looking like he's about to put it on. The reason one reason I liked it was for some reason, Norman here reminds me of Darren McGavin. And I was always a huge Darren McGavin fan. But it's just kind of like, it looks a little bit like Darren McGavin. But,
That's,
again,
that's Ralphie's dad from Christmas Story, Brad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when he was Kolchak, as opposed to Ralphie's dad, he'd kind of thin, he was a little older, but anyway, so I always just like this Norman with his eyes just glaring and on fire. He's about to put on this hideous mask and he thinks he's going to have all kinds of magic powers. And it turns out the monks were just effing with him because they knew he was up to no good. Number 10, the legacy of Evil One Shot. This is the story. This is after both Norman and Harry were dead. Wink, wink. And Ben Urich I think it was written by Kurt Busiek. Ben Urich is going around asking people about the Green Goblin. Because he's trying to figure out when the Goblin transitioned from Norman to Harry. And so he's interviewing, everybody. But the two people he doesn't interview, which is just for, it's like, what kind of a reporter is he? He doesn't interview either Peter Parker or Mary Jane Watson. And but
Gary in the Frozen wants to know if you like that story.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean,
I remember not buying this specifically because it was Busiek.
So, but this is the one where, like, at the end is when Ben Urich starts to realize that it's Peter Parker who's Spider-Man, because he always believed Urich was under the impression that Harry became the Goblin once he got into college. That was when Harry's reign started. And then Spider-Man reminds him that no, it was Norman Osborn who killed Gwen Stacy, not Harry. And then Ben, as Spider-Man left, Ben said, "Oh, if I keep prying into this, I think I'm going to get it. I know what answer I'm going to get, and I've been down that road before with Daredevil." So,
is this in canon?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Then why does the rest of the world suddenly forget that Norman killed Gwen Stacy? And like a lot of people think, oh, let's give Norman his own military unit. And
Oh,
let him do
Lord.
this. And
this is when Norman was outed. Norman was outed as the Goblin originally because Harry was arrested. I think after a spectacular 190, Harry was arrested and put into Arkham or Ravencroft. And I think that's when all the Green Goblin secrets were out. And that's when, and what had happened was there were robot goblins going around, and Liz was operating under a post-hypnotic suggestion by Harry or whatever. But anyway, but
Josh wants to know why you don't like Kurt Busiek.
It's too long to get into. It's
Okay.
just let's focus on the
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, number
Just to put it
9.
real short, I found a lot of Busiek stories in the '90s to be derivative of works that had already preceded him.
All right, let's see, this is number 9, right? Yep, number 9.
Mark, is it Mike Diodato on that?
I think so. Number
Yeah.
9 is Amazing Spider-Man number 519. This is the story is after the Molten Man knockoff, who I can't even remember his name. But after he burns down the Parker home, and Mary Jane and Aunt May go to Avengers Tower to live there with Peter and the rest of the Avengers this time. I like Mike Deodato's art. I'm a big fan of him. And I just like this cover because it's the Parker family standing together, resilient against all comers. It's like each one of them are saying, all right, it's like, you want to F with us, you F with one of us, you F with all of us. And I just like it. I just think it just says
Very
something
simple too. It's a very simple cover.
yeah, and I think it just says something about the power of family. And one reason why Spider-Man gets up every morning to do what he does. Yes, he wants to. It's like the way I look at being a hero, is the hero wants to help the poor and downtrodden, but it's the ones that he loves that gives him the strength to do it.
This also reiterates your desire for Aunt May to finally know too.
Oh yeah. I think Aunt May should know. But I like this story as well. I mean, when they go to the tower, I liked before it all got thrown into the shitter with Civil War. I liked the Avengers team that Bendis had put together. I like the fact that it was a little more grounded. That it had Luke Cage, Wolverine. I mean, more down to earth. Street level heroes. Spider-Man and Wolverine. Peter once threw Wolverine out of a window in Stark Tower. But anyway, number 8, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6, number 31.
Ooh, that is a good one.
This is a variant.
Yeah.
And
upside down kiss.
Yeah, and this is Peter. This is Spider-Man upside down kissing Mary Jane, but it's it's the girl next door. It's a very 60-ish looking Mary Jane, the straight hair, the green. I love the way her green eyes stand out. I already had this issue. I'm not a big fan of variants, but I will say that some of the modern variants I do like because they're different covers. They're not variations of the same covers like Spider-Man 1, where it's just the webbing that's different colors. I've actually liked some of the weird Spider-Man Planet of the Apes covers. I don't buy them. I mean, I'm not going to spend $4 for them, to buy multiple
the
issues.
human is about to escape.
But
you'd already purchased the main one, and then you liked this variant so much you went back and bought a second.
That's right.
copy.
I mean, I was looking for something else, and I just saw it on the rack. It was like, boom! I said, I gotta have that. That's an eye catcher. Again, but I like Mary Jane, and I think they should be married, and I have always felt that way.
Here's one we both love.
Here's another one of the only 2 repeats Brad and I have. It is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, number 101. It is the John Byrne cover with the in the black costume and the against city buildings, and it's all black and white. It's a great cover. I mean, I think a lot of people would put this in their top list.
Maybe George did too. Maybe that's the one cover in all of our lists.
Number 6. Here's another one that'll probably surprise you folks.
Oh, Tim Sale.
Spider-Man Blue number 3. Tim Sale. I definitely, when I was writing my columns and I was writing the year in review, I just thought Sale's women were gorgeous. I mean, I just thought they were beautiful. I wasn't a big fan of the story because the story was it was a elongated version of I think around like in the 40s, with the Rhino and Craven and things of that nature. You read Spider-Man Blue, and then you go back to the original Amazing issues, and you see it's just a stark difference between the the old type storytelling and the decompressed storytelling of today. But this cover, which it looks like he's flying out of her ass. But
And Didymus also says Mary Jane looks nude.
yeah. No, I'm thinking almost like a Nagel cover in a way. But I just think that's just a beautiful cover.
Yeah, I
It's
see
one
what
of my
you mean. I see what you mean, JR.
Number 5, Amazing Spider-Man number 252, the first appearance of the black costume. Yes, by our old pal Ron Friends. This is one, again, caught my eye. I had to have it. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I just looked at this thing and read it cover to cover over and over and over.
Same.
I was enamored with that black costume.
And it's an homage. It's an homage.
And it's an
cover.
homage.
Yeah.
It's an homage. But like I said, I've always liked the black costume. I think he should have stayed in it. Obviously, though, he couldn't if Venom, and the thing is, I don't think Marvel expected. I think Marvel, because this is one of the gimmicks that came out of Secret Wars. It's like, oh, Secret Wars, everybody's life is going to change. She-Hulk joins.
JR, never do that again. Brother. It looked like you were having, were legit stroking out. I was worried.
We almost called
911
911 on the old man. I mean, come on. We have a
Just 30
comic fan
seconds ago.
in
I
his
was like,
late
oh, shit.
70s. He's about
This
to
is it.
stroke.
Yeah. But anyway, this is just a classic one. And I don't think Marvel, like I said, I think it was originally just a gimmick, to promote Secret Wars, because we were all talking about earlier, Brad and George were talking about earlier, his original run in the black costume with the symbiote was only about 6 to 7 issues. So I don't think.
Well, it wasn't 6 to 7 issues. It was 6 to 7 months.
You're right. You're right.
There were other titles that he was showing up in.
But I don't think they were prepared for it. I think it turned out to be much more popular than they thought it would be. So they brought him. They put him back in the black suit, in a homemade one, and then Felicia made him a bunch. But now Venom. But
you had this. Hang on, scroll back up, JR. You have this comic come out, and it's not just a new costume. It's introducing the new Spider-Man. So that was like even a new level of mystery. These days, that's every other month.
Yeah.
I couldn't find that on the spinner rack. I had to go to a comic convention and buy that.
Yeah. I saw this, the one that, again, there was a comic shop in Terre Haute, Indiana. This is when I was in college. And it was the last one on the rack. And it was actually had a crease in it. But I said, well, it's the last one. I got to have it. Yep. So I grabbed it, and it's a good thing I did, crease and all, because I never saw it again.
Sold out.
At least not for a price I was willing to pay. Never saw it again.
What's the cover price on that? 60 cents? Yep.
Yeah, but when I bought this, and this was later that summer, this thing was $8.
Yeah.
I bought it for $8, and that was in that was in the mid 80s whenever this came out.
Yeah, it immediately started, shooting up in value. One of the few that actually probably was worth it, All right, number 4. This is what I was saying when Alex Ross and the Green Goblin are together. The Pulse number 4. This is the storyline in where Norman is formally outed again.
Again.
He convinced everybody that it wasn't really him in the Goblin outfit, theoretically. But this issue finally had him exposed for good. But it's the Goblin standing against a wanted poster. The face is the same. I've got a T-shirt actually like this. So
how come you never wear it on the show?
Because I've gotten too fat. Because I've gotten too fat for it.
Way to make him feel like crap, George.
Okay, everybody watching in chat, I want you to prepare for the actual real possibility that number 2 and number 1 are both Mark Millar's Trouble, with Aunt May looking like Paris Hilton.
No, it's Spider-Man Rain covers. Yeah.
I don't know. I think
JR is so off the reservation with this stuff now.
What number are we on? Number 3.
number-
Hallows
number-
Eve? Really?
Number
Oh, okay.
3
Okay.
is the Alex Ross. This is Hallows Eve number 1. I wouldn't touch that piece of shit with a 10-foot pole, but except for the premiere issue with the Alex Ross Green Goblin variant. And I've always, I think I just love it when Norman's eyes, you can see Norman's eyes within the costume. I did this would be, if this were a poster, it'd be on my wall.
Hornacek says your love of Hallows Eve is finally revealed.
Yeah. Some of the stupidest powers. Put on a Halloween mask and, you have the powers. It's like, so what if she puts on a Bozo the Clown mask on, she's going to have big floppy feet go, ah!
What would be the worst Halloween mask you could put on? Like Grover or Bert from Sesame Street?
Lance Armstrong.
Jeez.
I'm trying to think of somebody who's been canceled.
Hey, chat, who would be a bad Halloween mask for Hallows Eve?
So anyway,
All right.
number 2
Number 2.
Another, again, Alex.
See, I thought that was your number 1. I got no
Well,
clue
hang
what your
on,
number 1 is.
hang on. Number 2, the Amazing 568, the Alex Ross Green Goblin variant. Again, Norman's eyes are just, the eyes and the big white smile. And for those of you who've been watching a while, I don't have it. I put it away, but this was I have this in a poster, and it was behind me for several different podcasts. So this is definitely one of my favorites. But number 1 is,
here we go. Number 1.
Number 1 is part of it is sentiment. A lot of it is sentimental, and it is the original Spectacular Spider-Man number 2 magazine cover.
Somebody predicted this in chat, that this would be your number 1.
Gary the Frozen. Yeah,
it was a while.
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, I've talked about this before. We did a Spider History where this was it was the month, and like I've said, this is before I was formally, or just when I started collecting Spider-Man. Let's see. I mean, basically, they reprinted some of this, a lot of this issue. They cut out about a dozen or so pages
in an annual.
And they reprinted it as Spider-Man Amazing Annual number 9. And the cover was not, was an inferior copy of this. But anyway, that particular issue, though, I got in a trade with the barber. But we had barbershops in those days, and my dad would always went to the barbershop with my dad, and he and all the old geezers were talking about IU basketball and St. Louis Cardinal baseball, and I'd sit and read the comics or whatever, and I had to have this one, which was like I said, it was actually the Amazing Annual. And I had to have that one. Bob King was the barber's name. Bob let me have it.
Bob King.
It is beat to hell right now. And it took me years. I wanted this original issue, but it was always overpriced. And I finally found one actually not too long ago, a little bit well loved, but at a very reasonable price, and I bought it, and I got it. But this is, it's a great cover, and it has, and the story, and it's just a great story. I mean, it's just the first half is Norman he's forgotten. This is after like 39 and 40, and he'd forgotten who he was, and then he started remembering, and so the first half is his realization, and then and then he invites Peter and his friends to a party. And, of course, you've seen a variation of that in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. And then the second half is the two of them beating each other's asses. It's a really great story. I mean, I just really enjoyed the story.
The way I read it for the first time was in the mid 80s. They released Spider-Man digests, which were the size of Archie Comics digests. And one of the first ones that they reprinted was this one.
Yeah. Listen, Joe Mo, back in the day, Archie's Digest and Double Digest were some of the best value you got.
Oh yeah, right by the when you checked out, right by the checkout line. Yeah.
There's like a
It-
ridiculous amount of story in those pages.
Yep.
And Joshua, so many Goblin covers. I mean, you must be the only one who didn't expect to see a whole lot of Goblin covers. Everybody knew there
I
were
sure
going
as heck didn't expect Humberto Ramos on your list. I'll tell you right now.
everybody knew there was going to be a bunch of Goblin covers. It was just a matter of which ones. But no, this one has always been a clear favorite of mine for both the story and the cover. So there we go.
Here's JR's top 25.
JR's top 25.
All right, chat. If you want to predict George's number one, feel free. Let's see if you're right. All right, George, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Share your screen and I will pop it up.
All right, hang on here. Because
Jonathan's expecting Stegron. Gary in the Frozen says, JR never disappoints. Very impressive. I love Ramos, says Aaron. Josh says, I wonder if George has the cover of Secret Wars 3 on his list where the X-Men are getting their butts kicked.
Oh, let's see.
Get ready for 25 Stegron covers.
Well, I don't have these in a Chrome tab, so I'm trying to. It says window, and I'm like,
That's what I did. I shared a window.
Okay, I got it now.
Which is I got a folder and all of them in there.
All right.
Okay. Whoa, I don't want to show them all. So click on one of them and then.
Okay, hang on. I was not anticipating this, for me to be the one to have technical issues with this.
Hornacek says you should have made a Word document.
I'm starting to see the genius in JR's plan.
Sometimes simplicity is the best.
Should have made a Word doc. That's hysterical.
Actually, let me check to see. I can just do exactly what Brad did.
Yeah,
All right,
Joshua,
Brad,
I knew you were making fun of me, but I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt for not stooping to that level. But you went there. So
IT crawl space. Yep. Marvel Team Up 7 is Stegron's first appearance. That's what Gary's predicting. Word, simple but effective, says Milo.
All right.
Or is it 19 of Marvel Team Up? I'm not. What is Stegron? It's the one with Black Panther, right?
I think it's 19. I think.
Yeah, I think it's
19.
19.
Right. I'm trying to find it where it's just because it's not in Chrome and it's not.
While we're waiting on George, Milo gave us a super chat earlier, so thank you, Milo. He has a question for JR. Have you done a Spider History on the Black Suit Saga? I guess he's guessing from like 252 to 259.
Yeah, no, I have not. But Secret Wars is on. One, that's a good idea, Milo. But Secret Wars is on tap for 2024, the 40th anniversary of Secret Wars, where I will go through all of the thorough mediocrity of that story.
I can't wait for it. By the way, is this your number one that I see right now, or is this your number 20?
I don't know because I can't see what you see right now because I have to fill my screen with this.
It's a Ditko cover.
Yes, it is.
At 24 or number one?
It is
25
amazing.
or number.
It's Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1.
Okay, and that's your 25th? Sorry.
Oh no, number 25th. God damn it! I've already messed this up. All right.
My Word document doesn't look so bad.
No, it does not. That was my.
Because what I did was I numbered the files 25, 24, 23, 21.
Yeah, that's how the Battlestar Galactica survived. It was obsolete and wasn't tied in with the rest of the fleet's IT. So
every time.
Didymus says we didn't have any Doc Ock covers. That's true. I haven't seen one.
And anytime some kind of age thing comes out, JR always goes to the Battlestar Galactica well. Well, I'm the old ship. I'm the one that made it. Oh.
Yeah. Well, you got to stick with the classics.
Many of my favorites.
Which is funny because Picard basically repeated that same, the third season of Picard basically repeated that same trope.
Whoa. You watched that? You didn't tell me you watched season 3 of Picard.
Yeah, I did. I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it all yet, but yeah, I told you I was watching it.
Oh my gosh.
I watched the last episode first because I wanted to make sure
that's not how you do it.
Well, I wanted to make sure it stuck to the landing because I tell you, a lot of the first 2 seasons of Picard was shit. But also some of these miniseries they don't stick to the landing. But fortunately, Picard did.
I see it. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Here is George's 25th right here.
All right, so this is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 14. and this was always a big favorite of mine because it had a Doctor Strange Spider-Man story in it. This is not my least favorite of the covers necessarily, but the story inside wasn't all that. It was like a Denny O'Neil and Frank Miller story about Doctor Doom and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange have to go into, they go up against, at one time, they're going up against all these dark forces that Doctor Strange has aligned himself with, or not Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom. And there's like a big giant ass robot they fight at some point. But this is the one that had Doctor Doom, watching Nazi films in his basement.
Yeah.
Like on a projector. And I was like, dude, I can't remember if this predates Byrne's take on Doom, because I think that's when the gypsy stuff came into play, about him being, his background being a gypsy or whatever politically word you call them now. I know gypsy's not
Romani.
it's probably problematic, but
No, they call them Romani. Yeah, it is.
yeah.
They call them Romani now.
So, any Romani is not going to be in the basement watching Hitler films. Trust me, because they were persecuted just as much as the Jews were back then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not to the same extent, but just as badly. They were sent to camps and all that other crap. So, given Doom's background, I didn't really think that flied very well. But I like the cover, and it's other than that one moment I pointed out, it's an okay story, Yeah. But anyway,
I like what who said it. Josh Nelson said it's one of Denny O'Neil's few good Spider-Man stories.
Yeah, and this was I think this was Deb Whitman. She was with Peter at the beginning, and it was another one of those "oh, you're always running away" kind of moments.
Milo says it predates Byrne stuff. So
okay,
yeah, that is right, because he was, if memory serves, Denny O'Neil was like 80, 81, and Byrne came in on Fantastic Four like 82, 83.
That makes sense.
It's close.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
and I think it was Byrne who kind of started pushing that aspect of his backstory. But anyway, we'll go on to number 24.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Marvel Team Up 148. Of course, Marvel Team Up would end 2 issues later.
Yeah.
But I always loved this one, and I always used to tell my friends back in the day, I was like, "Look, no, this proves Spider-Man's worthy of wielding Thor's hammer. He's got it right.
Latch onto it at least, yeah.
Yeah, and I always that was a fun moment in the story. When Thor threw his hammer and they were going up against somebody called the Black Abbot, who was so compelling. We've never seen him since. I don't think.
Al Milgrom cover, huh?
Yeah, it's a Milgrom cover. I think the interior art though was done by somebody named George LaRocque.
Oh, Greg LaRocque. Yeah,
Greg LaRocque.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
All right, so that's number 24. Number 23.
Oh yeah.
Now I would have actually ranked this higher up, but I went for more of a 25 covers that I love kind of a thing. Yeah. So Brad's already had this on his list. I used to take this one and another one that's I think it's the next one to school like every day. I hid them in my little blue trapper keeper type thing. I read them on the bus. I read them at lunch. This one and another annual. I just couldn't stop reading them. I was like, oh my God, I love these so much. All right.
It's got 72 big pages there.
Yeah. For, I don't know. Does it have the
quarter?
Price on it? For a quarter. 72 pages for a quarter.
Man.
That's real value, Brad.
It is. It's value.
All right. So the next one was the other one that I took to school for some reason every damn day. And I can't explain what it is. I'm not like a huge Richard Deacon fanboy or anything. The Human Fly is not my Green Goblin. As it like with
is that
JR.
His identity, Richard Deacon?
That's his name, Richard Deacon.
Oh, that's so funny.
But he was visually he was interesting, especially in opposition to Spider-Man, and he was going after Jonah because this was another Scorpion type project. Like Jonah didn't learn his lesson the first time, and he tried to recreate that success and make another insect-based person that, not to be a hero necessarily, but that would just kill Spider-Man.
If you think about it, the Fly should be a lot cooler and should be Spider-Man's main nemesis, not the Goblin.
That'd be
Like
too
the
obvious.
Spider and the Fly. But
That'd be too obvious, Brad.
I know, but you would think the Fly would be cooler, being an enemy of Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, I feel like the spider always loses, or I'm sorry, the fly always
Fly
loses
always gets caught in the
against
web.
the spider. Always gets caught, caught in the web and
Yeah.
sucked dry. But this guy had an interesting power set. He had like sonic stuff he could like kind of channel through his wings, and he also had like a bioblast. He was cool. I mean, he was an interesting villain, and I read this all the damn time back in the day.
I remember this one.
All right. Next up is one from
Yep.
JR's list. And even though it's not the the big people who originally wore these suits, it's still a compelling piece of art from the McFarlane run. I think this was around the time when McFarlane started, wasn't it? On ASM.
He started on 298. Is his
I think, yeah, it was a little more than a year into his run. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's got like
Well-
10 after this or so.
So that's my that's number 21 for me.
An Inferno crossover.
Yeah, I wasn't a big Inferno fan, but I was,
Aw.
but I liked this.
Yeah.
All right, so Brad had, I think Brad had, yeah, Brad
did.
had this one. JR wouldn't have this one.
I almost
Brad.
picked issue 1 too. I was tempted with issue 1, but this one just is so classic.
So yeah, this was a big one, and I picked this one over 252 just
Mhm.
because of all the shit going on in the background.
Yeah.
It makes it a more interesting cover. It's like Spider-Man swinging around with two people, or Spider-Man in the new costume with all hell breaking loose behind him.
I thought
I
that was
thought,
just
yeah.
them standing around introducing each other.
Oh, shut up.
They're kicking the shit out of one another. Look, Thor's got his hammer like he's about to pound somebody behind Spider-Man's thigh, JR.
Look at Hulk lifting the boulder, going to smash somebody.
You want to get hit by Thor's hammer, chump? I can arrange it. I can arrange it.
I don't know. I think Chris Hemsworth's wife was already hit by Thor's hammer.
Oh, Lord.
Jesus, JR, this is a
Jesus.
family show.
This is an anniversary show.
God almighty.
Milo,
All right.
yes, you're right, Milo. JR is indeed ruining Secret Wars yet again.
He's a goddamn monster. All right. So that's my 20th pick.
Right.
My 19th pick is
Ah,
number 122, which is what I said. The issue that came after Brad's earlier choice.
right.
Brad 121. I actually found at a flea market
Nice.
and in Fort Worth, Texas, and I don't think they knew what they had because they had 25 cents written on the cover.
Oh, well, there goes
This
the value.
And this was back in like 80 or 81. I was hanging out with one of my old grade school chum, and we had walked down the street from his house and went in there, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, holy crap, how do I not get this?
Right.
So, yeah.
What year was that when you got that for a quarter?
Like I said, it was 80 or 81. I can't remember. I was a little kid. But then, same place, we went back like, I don't know, like 3-4 months later, we went back to the same place, and I picked this one up. I don't remember how much this one was at the time. But
Gary's surprised this wasn't on our list, JR. Either one.
But I liked this one just because, it's not like the floating heads and portraits. Oh, guess who? This is like some shit has gone down and stuff. It's people are about to throw down.
ASM 122, classic.
You got Goblin throwing pumpkin bombs. You got
Mhm.
Spider-Man about to try to fight holding a chick's body.
And this is an example of when word balloons add to it as opposed to subtract from it.
And
You know?
even though, yeah, that's true. And even though 121 is where Gwen dies, 122 has that great moment where he's like, Spider-Man's in shock. And he lands there and the cops are like closing in on him and they're like, all right, dude, just back away from the chick's body and, we'll figure this out. And then he's like, no, what are you talking about? She's not dead. And he kept on with the you're not dead thing, which was, oh my God, it was heartbreaking.
Gut wrenching. Yeah.
It was gut wrenching. And they kind of played a little bit with that in the Garfield movie
They did.
with
Yeah.
with Emma Stone. And I thought it was that scene was perfect because of that. So that was my 19th favorite cover.
Oh yeah, when Spider-Man snagged Gwen with the webbing and at the end, in the movie. Oh my Lord, that scene hurt. That
Uh-huh.
scene hurt.
It did. All right. So Number 18, 275 from Amazing Spider-Man: The Return of the Hobgoblin.
Yep.
I love the layout of this and the way that the two are
Not sure
going
what
at it.
artist that is.
I think that's Friends. I want to believe that's Friends. The
Yeah.
issue was Friends.
It was. I'm not. That doesn't look like Friends' art though. I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, it's good. I like it.
Yeah. I like it too.
All right. So, next up. Oh, and it wasn't too long after this that they did the whole, Flash Thompson, Flash
You kn-
Goblin.
You know, this may be an issue. Well, no, they did it in the annuals.
It was an
it-
issue. Confirmed. It's 275.
No, I know. This was an
It's
issue
right there on the art.
when they charge you more for a reprint in the back with new stories. That's what they used to do with annuals all the time.
Oh yeah.
This
I
is-
mean, they do it now and they charge you $10 for
they
it.
do it now for $10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or stories from the editor's drawer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, number 17, Peter Porker, Spectacular Spider-Ham.
That's epic. That's epic.
I almost went with 2099, but I always loved this cover
Yeah.
for multiple reasons.
Dr.
Number
Doom.
one, it's absurd. Well, it's not Dr. Doom. It's Dr. Doom.
That's why I said Doctor Doom.
Oh, I thought you said Dr. Doom. But it's an absurd cover. Number one. Number two, the colors really mesh well here.
Mhm.
I'm normally not a guy that notices colors, but there's a something happening. I don't know what you would call it in art, but it works well. It's all going together. The colors really tie the room together, as the dude would say. But and then it's just the first Spider-Man.
What do you think of the one that predates this one, which is Marvel Tales, TAILS, with you got Captain America and Hulk Bunny and Spidey on it. You
That came
remember?
out before this in the 80s?
Absolutely did. It was a one shot.
I don't remember that. I always
Tom
thought this
DeFal-
was the first one.
Tom DeFalco wrote it, and then that issue was so popular, it spun off when they started Star Comics. He gave Spider-Ham his own book.
This is
Yeah.
so messed up because even the whatever number Earth this is, the
Right.
Spider-Ham universe, has its own variants now. That's how far things have drifted.
Yeah.
My
What's the
God,
little-
I remember when there was just one Spider-Ham.
What's the little
We were
bunny's name there?
I don't remember. Because
And
these people, well, there's J. Jonah Jackal. That's who
J.
he
Jonah
worked for.
Jackal. And I
But
can't
he has
remember
little
Bunny.
friends who I never can remember their names because they're not really all that important to the story when it comes.
Well, then
down
that
to
won't
it.
be a Spider history question or a Spider Jeopardy question then. Good.
This is before Ham started doing coke and had to go into rehab.
Jesus, Jr. behind the panels.
Behind the
JR
panels.
with J.R. Fettinger. All right.
That's a John Mulaney riff. But anyway,
Number 16.
Oh, of course. Why didn't I think of that one? Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
this is probably actually, even though obviously I've already blown my number one from earlier, but this would probably be my number one favorite Ditko cover. I just like that I put number one in there just because the Sinister Six is on it. But I always liked this one.
ASM 33.
I hated that in Homecoming this one was ruined by replacing Uncle Ben with Tony Stark. But I mean that was only one
So
of
beautiful.
the trillions of sins that movie had. Let's see. Number 15. 15 was this one from Gang War. Now you look at this for on its face and say, like, well, this isn't really that remarkable. But the reason I included it is because of what it says about Spider-Man in a way that people probably don't recognize. So you've got Spider-Man tackling the villain here, right?
Yeah.
He's tied up, villain's tied up, and then he's looking down on some stuff that he can't stop. Can't be two
Yep.
places at once.
Yep.
That's one of the curses of being a superhero. You can only do one thing, and you're not Superman, as Aunt May told him. The Rosemary Harris Aunt May told him one time. You can't be ever at once. You're not Superman.
So what issue is that? That's Amazing Spider-Man 285?
ASM 286.
86. Okay.
This was when the Rose killed a cop.
Yeah.
And after, having many issues where he's already had people killed.
Mm-hmm.
But they were people that worked for his father, so it's okay. Murder's okay in that situation.
Yeah.
But then he killed a rookie cop, as the issue explains, and then suddenly him and his girlfriend are sitting there all worried. And I'm like, dude, you've already killed so many people. Yeah, it's bad. You killed a cop. You can't come back from that. But I feel like your hands were red already. You know?
Yep.
But it's also interesting because Spider-Man didn't actually see him shoot the cop in the issue. Spider-Man was busy putting out a fire, which they didn't put on a cover, which might have made it even more interesting. Like if one of those buildings was just engulfed in flames. You know? Anyway, so that was my choice, number 15. Number 13.
Oh yeah, that was close on mine. Yeah, I love that one.
First appearance of the Sinister Syndicate. This was a two-parter in 280 and 281. That was just awesome.
Oh, I agree.
And just chock full of action. We covered it
Didn't
on...
it take place inside of an amusement park?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
We covered it on Friday Night Fights at one point.
I remember that came out in the summer of like, what does that say, 86?
Yeah.
Like in the sixth grade. I read that thing so many times as a kid.
And this was one of those instances of when Sandman was becoming a maybe not a good guy, but more of an anti-hero maybe.
Check out Fred. Fred's on the cover. Boomerang.
Good old Fred, poor dead Fred.
All right, poor dead Fred.
That's what my mom says. I picked that up from my mom. Like
dead Fred.
Whenever we listen, whenever we're listening to her music and Roy Orbison will come on the radio or whatever, or on her playlist, Mom says, "Poor dead Roy." So we just do it on people that are dead. Anyone who's dead.
Is that Sinatra? Oh yeah, poor dead Frank.
Poor dead Frank. All right. So that's my number 14 choice.
Love that. That was a good choice.
Number 13 is
there you
another duplicate.
258.
And I like this because we were about to say goodbye to the symbiote costume, and I was okay with that. I was like, yeah, this was fun. Let's go back to red and blue. And but then it was interesting because like right after, like he got rid of the costume, remember, and then the costume came back, and then he had Reed, and the Fantastic Four get it off of him, and they kept it in a test tube.
Yep.
That it couldn't get out of for the longest time. Then it was more interesting as a symbiote than it was as Venom, I think.
Just this past week they did a what if. And it took place after this, where the symbiote got out of the little jar in the Fantastic Four, and it went on Ben Grimm. And I haven't read it, but that's a neat what if concept. What if the symbiote got on
it's derivative. Thing? They've already done it before. They did it with the Hulk. It's been done. It's been done. The symbiote getting on another hero. Yeah, we get it. It's been done. It's to me that's kind of unoriginal.
The one time I liked it though was the what if where the Punisher got it, because to me that made sense.
Yeah, these two were born for each other.
Exactly. Yeah. That made sense. So.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he'd never run out of bullets.
Mm-hmm.
He'd always have symbiote juice.
Can you imagine the bullets just coming back to Frank after he kills them all?
Yeah. All right, let's stop talking about Venom. All right.
Okay. Number 12.
Number 174.
Ross Andrew.
And funny because it's got the Punisher on it, but this one I like everything about this. This just reminds me, that like kind of in that book How to Draw the Marvel Way, remember?
Mm-hmm.
They talked a lot about perspective, and this isn't coming looking down from the corner of the room or anything, but it's got a lot going on.
What issue number?
This is ASM 174.
Okay.
You've got the Hitman about to put one in Jonah's brain pan. Yep. And Jonah's probably got it coming. But then the Punisher's jumping through the window with a machine gun, and he and the Hitman were like old pals, war buddies back in the day, and now they're on opposite sides. And then you got Spider-Man, and they're ready to slap a bitch as well.
He's got the hand ready right there, doesn't he? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's already got the hand out. He's like, I'm handing out bitch slaps for free. Step right up. You got them right here. It's a big old bag of bitch slap. All right. So next up, I have number 11.
Oh,
this was
Mark Brooks.
This is the only variant I have in here, and the reason
is that
this was Nick Spencer's first issue.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember a volume. I can't remember. Is it volume
5,
number
6,
1?
whatever?
I think it's volume 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 1.
And the reason it's one of my favorites is because it is a throwback to like Norman Rockwell.
Oh, yeah, that does look Rockwell-ish. Yeah.
Also, this is something that Chi-Town Spidey sent me.
Oh, cool. Cool. It's a good one.
So I put it up here just because it's a favorite of
Mark
mine.
Brooks has, speaking of variants, he's got corner box art variants coming out on covers that look really good. But he's a good
And
artist.
And there's a couple of versions of this art. There's one with like a different background where it's like just sketches of Peter and Mary Jane.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, so let's go on to number 10,
Oh, yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 1, where he shows up in his own book after his first appearance, and with the Fantastic Four, who are his, perennially his friends, until his friends are written out of character, and then suddenly they're at odds. I don't want to mention names.
And that's not Kirby. That's Ditko, right?
Yeah, that's Ditko.
Yeah.
All right, so that's number 10. Number 9
Ah, yeah, boy.
is of course Secret Wars number 3. I think it was Winnipeg Webhead earlier who had said he's like, I bet Secret Wars number 3 is in George's list, and I saw that and I was like, well, yeah. If you know me, you know me. I like this issue where Spider-Man shows up.
Called it.
here's the X-Men plotting to break away from the heroes and join Magneto to form their own third faction, and then jumps in and just starts beating ass. First thing he does is jump down and bitch slap Professor X to put him down for a couple minutes so he can.
He's even on the cover down.
Oh yeah. That's after he got bitch slapped by Spider-Man. And I remember this fight because all the X-Men are saying things like, "Oh my God, he's just so incredible."
He's so fast.
He's so overwhelming. It's like it's truth. It's filled with truth, Brad, is what it is.
I actually, the part I liked the best was I think Nightcrawler said, "I'll get him. I'm as fast as he is," and then Spider-Man just swats him and says, "Not on the best day of your life."
Yeah.
He also swatted Wolverine away, like Wolverine
He
wasn't
did.
anything. Wolverine even talks about it later. He's like, "Dude, he just made us look like losers. We fight the Juggernaut, and this guy just took us down." Of course, that guy also took down the Juggernaut, but that's a different story. All right, so number 8. Web of
Oh,
Spider-Man
you know
number
what?
1.
I regret not putting that on mine. That's a classic one.
I think
Web
that's
number 1.
I think that's the best cover representation of the black suit.
It's a good one, man.
Yeah,
Charles Vess.
Charles Vest, and then later on they had that fold out pinup that Vest did with Spider-Man, Black Hat, and Hobgoblin.
Yeah, that was in the 30th anniversary, if I remember correctly. Those are some
so
prints
good.
that they made with Vest. Charles, that's so beautiful.
All right, so next up we'll go to number 7, and we got our pal Sal, in a story where Spider-Man kicked the living shit out of the Rhino. This is one of those things where, like, you can see teeth coming out in the panel,
Yeah.
But this was a really good story where Harry had. This was back when Harry was, going nuts, and before Harry died, and he had. I think he had hired Rhino, but I can't remember if he hired him as Harry or hired him as Green Goblin.
Hired him as Green Goblin.
Did he? Okay, to go after and kill Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man's like, well, I'm not going to have somebody mess with Peter Parker. So Spider-Man goes after Rhino, and then he beats him to a point where you almost feel bad for the Rhino. But then you remember Rhino took money to end somebody's life, and you're like, no, hit him a couple more times. Kick him in the ribs.
What does the text say? The Rhino doesn't want to kill Spider-Man, but before they're through, the wall crawler will wish he had.
Well, which is funny because, Rhino gets some good hits in, but Spider-Man cleans his clock. Like, really lays him out. To the point where, like, Rhino's like, enough, I'm dead already.
Doesn't this kind of end with you can't see them because they're both in a pit or whatever, they're both in a hole, and then like Spider-Man just decides to give him a couple of slugs just for shits and grins. You don't see them, but you see Spider-Man saying you should have thought about Peter Parker's family or something like that. He just hauls off and hits him another couple of times.
He does.
Nice.
And it's one of those moments, where Spider-Man goes up against somebody he can literally just let loose on and not worry about hurting too bad. So, yeah, Joey Z, Spider-Man beat him like he owed him money. That's right.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, Josh says that Rhino didn't land any hits on Spider-Man, not in costume anyway. That's interesting.
I thought he charged at him and kind of like sideswiped him at one point, but yeah, Josh may be right. This is it's more one-sided definitely than the cover would let on.
Yep.
All right. So number 6,
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
boy.
Spider-Man
That's cool.
245, and of course you see this in and you're on the newsstand for the first time, and you're like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yep.
You're like that
Nope.
GIF, oh, it's happening, right? But no, well, I mean, it did, but it didn't,
Refresh
this
me.
is-
What happened when was this a dream issue?
No, he
What
beat
happened?
Hobgoblin, and then he comes to find out that it's Lefty Donovan in the suit,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and Lefty Donovan's trying to explain to him, no, I'm not him.
Yeah.
All right, so and then later on, Hobgoblin killed Lefty Donovan, I believe. JR, do you remember what issue that was?
Yeah, I mean, it was he. That's where you didn't see Donovan's face ever. I mean, because but the Hobgoblin set him up to fool around with Osborn's chemicals because Kingsley, it was Kingsley, but the Hobgoblin didn't want to recreate the insanity of the Goblin formula.
That's why he
And,
just wanted the notes.
Yeah, and so he set Donovan up as a guinea pig. And then when Spider-Man was beating his ass, the Hobgoblin, Kingsley blew him up remotely, blew up the glider and him with it.
If
So
memory serves, wasn't Lefty the one that discovered the layer of Norman in 238?
no, that was
Back in
Georgie.
Oh,
Oh,
Georgie.
it was
yeah,
Georgie.
gotcha.
Okay, it wasn't
Georgie
Lefty.
the Thug.
Well,
That's
who was
right.
Lefty?
He was a dupe that Kingsley used to test the formula on.
Oh, okay.
He had him follow Osborn's notes to duplicate the Goblin formula, but the Hobgoblin wanted to test it on somebody first because he didn't want to get the insanity that allegedly the formula gave Norman.
I like Romita Jr. style, but I really like that Romita Jr. style a lot. Back in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
love that.
Before he completely changed his style.
He changed his style right when he got around Daredevil, in my opinion. And both I like a lot, but that style, oh, so classic.
All right, so let's go next to number 5.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's a good one.
And no surprise, I have a lot of Hobgoblin stuff in here. He wore an ascot, ladies and gentlemen.
ASM 239, right?
Yeah, I just like him because Hobgoblin looks cool right there. And I think he looks even cooler because, the backdrop is just his face
Yep.
like that. But obviously, he's throwing bombs, being goblin-y, and Spider-Man's like, oh, God, not this shit again.
I think it's safe to say that George's favorite goblin is Hobgoblin and JR's
Oh,
is Green. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been on record with that saying, I've always thought Norman should still be dead.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue on to number 4. Another one that Brad
Yep.
had.
238. Classic.
This was the first time we actually really see Hobgoblin.
You get that one off the newsstand and get the stickers, or did you
I
leave
did,
the
and-
tattoos in?
I did. I wasn't big on like gimmicky stuff. Like even as a kid, I'd see stuff in magazines. I wouldn't feel compelled to just tear it out.
Yeah.
I actually had enough control to be like, I don't need this.
I mean,
And then
I had to try those tattoos out.
yeah, and I didn't really like putting stuff on me, like temporary tattoos or crap like that. I wasn't like if you took me to the state fair, I'm not the kid that's going to get his face painted like a tiger, right? I'll look at other kids and be like, "Do you also eat the glue?" I'm glad I'm not you, right? I probably offended a lot of people in chat who got their faces painted because there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, me personally, I had it done one time, Brad, and you'll like this. For Halloween, my grandmother, I believe it was my mom's mom, painted my face green to be the Hulk.
Okay.
And I was so uncomfortable underneath this paint. And it wasn't like grease paint. It was like, I don't know, it was something else. It was too thick and it cracked and stuff. And it was just, my skin couldn't breathe. And I was like, I want to be dead. And I was only, I think 8 or something. I mean,
I like what
after that, I never got my face painted again.
Chad Winnipeg says stuff George doesn't like on him: face paint, tattoos, and hoodies.
I'll burn the hoodie. Yeah.
Joey, he says George didn't rip out pages from his comics. He just drew dinosaurs in them.
Well, I didn't rip pages out of that one of the what was that Amazing Family #1, Amazing Spider-Man Family #1, which had which was like stories that they had in there, and you could still see a married Spider-Man. And I was like, oh, I check this out. But then they printed part of like a brand new day story in there, and I opened up the staples and carefully removed the pages. And then folded them together and mailed them back to Steve Wacker and said there was a publishing error with my Amazing Family #1. Somehow these these crap subpar brand new verse pages got in there. So here you go. Just thought you might want to be aware of the printing error. And then later on, he accused me of ripping the pages out and everything. I was like, that's bullshit. And I used to have pictures up on the crawl space message board after I'd removed them. They were very neatly taken out and stapled back together, and tore and folded up.
All right, we're at the top 3 of George's list. There it is.
So this was not the first Stegron cover, but #1, it's a rare Christmas cover because they don't really cover Christmas a lot in the books.
ASM what? 160?
166.
Okay.
You've got the Lizard coming at him from one side, and then Stegron coming at him from another side. And this is one of my favorite stories. This is the one with Stegron's meat gun. this is like the apex of storytelling back in the day for George.
For the new listeners, what did that meat gun? Tell them what the meat gun did. Tell them about that.
So Stegron developed a meat gun that he didn't call it a meat gun. He called it something else, which I have forgotten, but it was at one time a Spider Jeopardy question. But he developed what I call the meat gun because he could shoot it at dinosaur bones and they would reanimate. They would grow tissue back and reanimate. He basically resurrected dinosaurs with this gun.
With his gun, yeah.
And I call it the meat gun because it was literally like he was putting meat back on their bones. It's just fun to say, and it's just fun to say meat gun.
The meat gun. Puny humans, I have the meat gun. And I also go to Arby's because we have the meats.
Funny story. If you have the Arby's app, by the way. This the last week and a half. Well, I say about a half week ago, Arby's was doing this thing to the app where they had $1, $2, $3 meals. You could get that French dip sandwich they have, Jomo.
Yeah.
For $3. And so I was getting like the au jus, and then I would get like a classic roast beef for like $2. I'd spend like $5, then maybe get some crinkle fries. I was doing that every day for like a week and a half.
Oh, that's not healthy.
And then it ended in the app and probably saved my life, thank God.
I like to get the half-pound quarter beef and cheddar.
You're decadent son of a bitch, Jomo.
I mean, that takes at least a whole roll of paper towels and a shower to get.
It does because that cheese is everywhere.
Oh my God!
You can't contain the cheese, and if you put Arby's sauce on it, God help your soul, you're going to have both of them coming at you.
And after your body digests that, anyway, we're grossing people out.
If you take a bite out of Arby's with Arby's sauce, if it doesn't bleed into your beard immediately after, you've done something wrong.
And I don't even have a beard.
All right.
Stegron's Arby's meat gun. That's what it's going to be called.
They need it. They do. They need a crossover. If we've got the meats, here's the guy with the meat gun.
Meats.
Hairless apes. And but now they've got this thing where it's like they don't have the $1, $2, $3 anymore. They got like 2 for $7 now. Have you seen this, Jomo? The 2 for $7?
I have. I remember back in the day when it was $5 for $5.55. I remember what was that.
I go there now and I get like 2 of the classic beef and cheddars.
There's not much meat in them anymore.
There's not, but there's 2 of them. And they're only $7. You can still afford some crinkle fries. Come home and just have a big party with you and the sandwiches.
The meat sweats.
Meat sweats.
Here, let's hear JR's thoughts on Arby's.
I like Arby's.
I do too.
I do. I like the king-sized roast beef. And George is right. I learned my lesson that I only use one Arby's sauce pack because when I use more than one, oh yeah, definitely, I've got a problem.
The revitalization ray is what Hornacek says.
Yeah, but that's not what he called it in the comic.
Oh, okay.
He had a different name for it in the actual book.
This has become 25 top Arby's orders.
Listen, Arby's is legit. Arby's is
What
is
what is
legit.
Arby's, Milo? Really? He doesn't
Okay,
have-
so they're a fast food chain, Milo, in the U.S., sort of like McDonald's or Wendy's, but they serve primarily stuff with roast beef on it.
Yeah.
They have a couple of other specialty items, like they do their own French dip, which is roast beef with, I think it's Swiss cheese on like a long hoagie kind of a roll, and you dip it into the au jus, and then you're like, oh my god,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hornacek, tonight's episode brought to you by Arby's. Winnipeg, this is why I tune into the show for the crew to review Arby's.
go
Thomas
to
says
Arby's.
Stegron's voice shall be played by Ving Rhames.
I'd accept Bing Rhames as a voice for Stegron. Absolutely.
I'm down with that. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
I want to hear him do Stegron and then do lines from Pulp Fiction.
Stegron takes over the world one Arby's at a time.
You hear me, hillbilly? That's what we need. We need a Stegron hillbilly story. All right.
Oh my God.
Stegron fiction. All right. So slide 2.
No, hold on. McNulty, it is not, he says think Subway, but with emphasis on the beef. That's an insult to Arby's. Subway is not
Yeah,
that good.
because you can't go. Yeah, Subway just had
Not
that
good.
thing where like the government was after him, and like you really ought not to call your bread because it's not technically. And after that whole thing, and
Or
even though,
their tuna's not tuna either, I think, or something.
yeah, I'm out, dog. I'm like, no, I want to go in and be able to know that the fixins I'm getting are actual fixins or part of the sandwich. Oh no, this is actually a plant-based bread. F that. I don't want
You just spent-
unbelievable, impossible bread.
You just
you
spent
know?
5 minutes on Arby's. I love it.
Well, listen, some things need to be talked about when they get brought up. Arby's
It all
is
started
one.
with Meat Gun. That's how we went. Yeah. Okay.
I need
Number
a,
2.
I need an Arby's meat gun. All right. So I could just aim at the empty wrapper and make myself. a
Oh,
new
and you could
sandwich.
regenerate your sandwiches. You could.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, only bad
God.
side, you couldn't regenerate your Arby's sauce.
You need another
That's
gun
the-
for
that's
that.
the
You
big
need an
problem.
Arby's sauce gun.
Yeah, like a grease gun.
No,
All right, we're-
in the shape of like a mustard or a ketchup bottle. It just makes more Arby's sauce.
and then you just got Arby's sauce for days. All right, we need to move on. All right. So here's my second pick.
Oh, Frank Miller.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
hang on.
there's your number 1.
ASM Annual number 15.
Yeah.
Spider-Man versus the Punisher, and then Dr. Octopus is reading the book while drinking a cup of coffee.
That's a great one.
I just always like the cover because of how much is going on it. Number 1, Spider-Man versus Punisher. What? I have to know about this. What's going on? And then there's Dr. Octopus just casually reading it, sipping his coffee,
Mhm.
being like, "Oh, I wonder if somebody died. Well, that'd be a shame. Let's see."
Didymus says this is our first Doc Out cover between the three of us. Interesting. I
There
guess it
were
is.
some 1980s new Korean dictator suit. Dr. Octopus almost made it on my list.
Yeah.
But then I decided I need to keep this about Spider-Man.
I almost did the web number 4 where Spidey's
Yes.
it's a burn cover with the arms hitting him. I almost did that one. I
Yeah,
love
that was a
one.
good one. But
Yeah.
I was like, I need to keep this because I almost did just the Doc Ock cover solo, just because it was just him on it. And then I was like, no, I need to keep it Spider-Man related and focused. Unlike other people who didn't
That are
understand the
distracted
assignment.
with
Like, now look at this
Humberto.
one of Norman.
Look at this one with Humberto Ramos and Mary Jane Scanley clad on a wall.
All right, so my number 1 pick.
I'm surprised with this one, George.
Well, because I mean,
ASM Annual number 1, Steve Ditko.
now Ditko is not my favorite Spider-Man
Yeah,
artist.
that's why
but
I'm surprised.
I don't hate Ditko's work on ASM. It's just there's other people I liked more, like Romita Senior. I love
Yeah.
Romita Senior. For me, he is the definitive foundational Spider-Man artist. Because for me, the Ditko Spider-Man now, and I'm not, and again, this is no attack on Steve Ditko. I've never meant this as any kind of attack on Ditko. I have nothing but respect for Ditko. I love Ditko's Doctor Strange. But I'll defend Ditko on the point that he was drawing like a 15-year-old kid who's having to develop into a larger, muscular person later on in life. And I think that they actually transitioned that pretty well. Because when Spider-Man is here fighting the Sinister Six, he's not the 10-ton Spider-Man that he would grow up to be. But I did like this annual. The annual was compelling. All of the fights in this, interestingly, were like a splash page.
Mhm.
Like
was,
he,
yeah.
he would show up at where somebody was hiding, beat their ass in one page, and then leave.
That's one of the reasons why I asked for you to do this on Fight Club, and you were like, "Well, it's just a big splash. It's not an ongoing
I
fight."
can't talk about it in
Yeah.
in Fight Club because there's not enough fighting going on. Literally, he shows up, is like, "Oh, Vulture, crack! All right, bitch, who's next? Go off, run, find somebody else. Boom, they're down. Who's next?" You know,
And this was a story was redone in one of those great Marvel Treasury editions. So the splash pages were, they're almost like poster size, every one of them. So
yeah, they were like pinups in there,
Mhm.
you know, and so yeah, I always just liked that. His first appearance of the Sinister Six, which honestly, and let's call it out for what it is. A lot of times, the Sinister Six since then hasn't really been used to good effect or even done correctly, really.
Or it didn't really make sense why they're
Or
together.
it didn't make. It was like somebody just wanted to write a Sinister Six story.
Like Eric Larson.
They didn't have a story, a firm foundation to build off of. They just wanted to draw some shit and have people say things.
And David Michelinie back in the 90s when he brought them back together.
Well,
and-
now I'll who was it? Was it Michelini or Larson during their story? Who it actually had a story where they were gonna I think they were trying to hijack the space shuttle.
It was Michelinie. I think it was Michelinie because it was a twice during the summer, bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. And I think they replaced it with who came back to replace Craven? Was it Hobgoblin?
it was Hobgoblin. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember at the time there was that controversy and Hulk fans got all pissy because
That was Larson.
and they had right to be pissy. I'll give them that. It was like, yeah, you guys are right. Your boy was done dirty, and that was when
Well,
Dr. Octopus
Well, he had adamantium arms.
easily. Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's still a Hulk.
Yeah.
And so I get that. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there was a period. This happened back in the 90s. Eric Larson took over Spider-Man for a while.
After McFarlane left, an adjectiveless like Spider-Man 26 or something, I think.
And I didn't mind Larson's art. Like I was a fan of Larson's Savage Dragon back then.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the way he drew Mary Jane. A lot of times Mary Jane's hair was too big, and it was almost like, is that Mary Jane or Starfire, where her hair is turning into fire behind her?
Mhm.
And
She was always a pinup, always in lingerie or
just like back when Michelini was writing her, and every issue that was just a Mary Jane being around when she would be in bed in lingerie.
yeah.
And I didn't like that so much that during those years, but he had Dr. Octopus kicking the shit out of the Hulk with as Brad said, they were adamantium arms, but at the same time it's still the Hulk. Hulk gets stronger as he gets madder. Brad, you should know this.
Yeah, all the Hulk would have to do would be like to kick Doc Ock once and he's done.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just like, I just don't. I'm not buying this,
Yeah.
And a lot of Hulk fans got mad. This was a lot like when Spider-Man kicked the shit out of the X-Men in Secret Wars #3. Except that one they didn't really have a counter against that. Spider-Man's just that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of Hulk fans were mad about this, and then so Peter David equalized the scales with I think with Fix-It Hulk. I think the next time we saw Dr. Octopus and Hulk, it was Fix-It Hulk, and Fix-It Hulk just wrecked Dr. Octopus. Like I think he tied him up in his arms and then like kicked him out or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
But that was Peter David's answer to that. And,
Yeah,
I appreciate that there was some kind of effort made to fight back against that.
Mhm.
But interesting little side story between Spider-Man and Hulk.
Anyway, that was a good list. Is there anybody that isn't on the list that you thought as an artist should be? The one that I thought, it came kind of close for me. I'm going to take this out so we see it.
I didn't have after I came up with it. The only Romita Senior thing I had was Amazing Spider-Man Annual #3.
Yeah.
Or at least I think, and that was surprising to me. I think he did Human Fly was like Gil Kane or Ross Andrew. I don't remember.
Alex Savick wasn't on my list. He's one of my favorites. I almost did ASM 42 where Mary Jane's got Jim Salicrop taking a picture of her. That almost came there, but it wasn't really too Spider-Man related. But Alex Savick's one of my all-time favorites. Yes, Didymus. I was just going to say this. Mark Bagley is not on any of our lists. I don't remember Mark Bagley on any of ours. And Mark
Well,
Bagley is one of my favorites. Yeah.
I like Bagley's art, but most of Bagley's covers, I think it's safe to say, come from Ultimate Spider-Man. What the hell do I give a care about Ultimate Spider-Man?
Yeah, I actually looked through some of the Ultimate Comics covers and I couldn't do it. They weren't my favorites. Jonathan says ASM 500 was a great cover. That was a J. Scott Campbell. Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, a lot of what makes a great cover, Brad, is the context in which it's,
Like I said,
presented.
a lot of them are emotional things for me, and you too also, I imagine. The emotions
yeah.
that you had when you see it.
Oh yeah.
Not a single cover from Chris Bachalo. Yeah, or whatever, Josh. Thomas says, yeah, Peter David did a lot of fixes continuity-wise. If you haven't read that Joe Fixit miniseries that Peter David did with Grey Hulk and Spidey in Vegas, you'd like this one, George. The Kingpin tries to take over Vegas.
I like
It's a good one.
I like all the fixing stuff from back in the day that Peter David did. Is this something more recent that you're talking
Yeah,
about?
it's his latest one before he went to the hospital.
No.
It's just a 5-issue miniseries, really good. Milo, thank you for the super chat. I enjoyed this a lot. Maybe next time do a 25 best Spider-Man stories, and happy anniversary. Thanks for the amazing content.
Thank you, Milo.
Really
See,
nice.
Brad, the reason that thing probably went right by my radar, right?
Yeah, it's new. That's why.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing, and this is why I don't really give any consideration to new stuff.
Yeah.
Historically, for me, when Spider-Man is bad enough to be to be at the point of unreadable, like it is now, I don't just drop Spider-Man. I drop everything. I just stop reading comics because, like, it's like everything just has a bad taste in my mouth now.
Yeah.
Like when Spider-Man's bad, it's like, why? It's almost like why keep on living? If Spider-Man sucks, what's the
why read
am I buying
comics? Yeah.
Why? So
I read comics.
So my enjoyment of comics as a whole is actually tied to if I'm enjoying Spider-Man at any given moment, and if Spider-Man sucks, then I'm kind of at a place where, and then I'll hear you guys talking about satellite stuff, and then other people bringing up what's happening in other books, while we do the regular shows, and then I'm like, well, that's stupid. What the hell? What's going on? Who's running this damn thing? I want answers. We need accountability.
Yeah.
So that's why I probably didn't even know about that one.
Thomas says there's not many covers during JMS or Paul Jenkins' run.
During Jenkins' run, it was Mark Buckingham, who's a fine artist, but I can't remember any particularly memorable.
Yeah, I was never a Bucky fan. I mean, didn't dislike him, but it just wasn't my speed, So
I like Mark Buckingham just fine.
JR, any shocks that you're surprised that you didn't see you made the list of anything?
I was shocked he had a Ramos cover. I like Ramos.
I was too. That shocked me. One of the biggest things tonight. Yep. All right. Couple things I want to show you. Let's see. Let me pop this up.
Whoa.
What?
This family show.
It is.
Okay.
And on Saturday at 7:00 Central, we are going to take live callers. If you've wanted to be on the crawl space, now's your chance. You can talk to these. George just confirmed he's coming Saturday night, so that's good. So George will be with us.
I will be here Saturday night. Please do some pre-checks on any microphone you're using.
Yep, that's true.
And maybe don't have your bandwidth getting sucked away by Netflix or streaming while you're trying to talk to us, so that you have a stable internet connection.
That's true. So what you're going to do, I'm going to provide a link to StreamYard, and you can click it, and you can be in the little windows with us and ask a question, have a question ready for us, and we will ask it. The panel on Saturday will include me, JR, George, Sarah, and Kelly will join us on Saturday night. So you can have a chance to ask questions to any of those folks, and we will answer it. So the 25th anniversary live callers. It's always good to... I'll probably ask you some questions about how long you've been listening to the Crawl Space. What were you doing 25 years ago? If you're like Josh, Winnipeg Webhead, he was -5 or whatever he was. So it's weird to think that we've been around longer than some people have been alive that actually watch this show.
And if you're from a foreign country, I will ask you if you are a fan of a particular singer from that country.
Yes, Sweden and the ABBA, yeah. Speaking of Winnipeg Webhead, he is a member on YouTube, And he's been a member for 25 months. So you get a little icon on YouTube. He says that was awesome. Happy 25th. So you can sign up and be a member and get little spider emojis in the chat if you want to do that. So yeah, this Saturday, 7:00, our live callers. I'm not sure we did live callers last year.
I don't think we did.
I think it's been a minute. I save it generally for special anniversaries where we do the live callers, but
It's been a while.
it has been a fat minute. So
I am almost halfway done with Spider Jeopardy now at this point.
oh my gosh, that's coming up in November. We always
Yeah.
do it in November. The other thing, well, Milo says, "Will JR take people on the list?" He may put more people on the list after that live caller show on Saturday night. So
If
always
you
a
were
possibility.
on JR's list,
you don't get off of it.
this is a PSA. All right, if you were on JR's list, it's probably better that you stay off the grid, that you're laying low or on the land.
Get the Ethernet cable and just pull it out because JR can't get to
Because if you call in to JR, there's a much larger chance that he'll find you eventually.
And I'm going to do a little. People are wondering how we're going to do this. To join the thing, there's a little URL, and I'm going to clip it at the top of the YouTube channel, and you just click it. That's how I'm going to do it this year. And I can put 10 cameras down here, and I'm just going to add you one at a time. So some of you will wait in the green room, as we call it. But if you click on the little URL, who knows who's going to show up? So I'm just going to have the URL ready for you to click on it.
And remember, if JR has to come find you, he's bringing an ass whooping with him.
And the other thing I want to share because, oh man, these look good, don't they? Just Just- for the people that were wondering what Arby's are, this is Arby's right here. Look at these sandwiches. Look at these sandwiches, boy. I mean, this is just Google image search Arby's. Oof.
This makes me want to be kind of like Jabba and just be up on some kind of dais throne.
Yeah.
Instead
This
of
is-
reaching over for frogs out of a bowl, I reach over for like a
Look at these
cheddar and
Ooh.
roast beef or a
This is the
French
one I
dip.
get. This is the monster. This is the half pounder. This is so
Yes.
good. That's
Yes.
like your meal for a day, all the calorie content. Yeah. Anyway. Oh,
or as they call it, the Widowmaker.
hey, we're going to the heart, boys. And when it goes down to all right. Let's see. Chat, what else you got for me? Vinkman says Sarah is triggered by Arby's. Well, she had a Whopper, so
That's not Arby's.
that is not Arby's. This is good.
That's
food.
not Arby's.
If they had a Spider-Man tie-in, we'd try some roast beef on the air. I'm telling you now.
Burger King sucks compared to Arby's.
I asked George. I said on our Facebook little group. I said, George, you enjoy a good burger. You should be on this episode. And George was like, that's why I never go to Burger King. I enjoy a good burger.
I enjoy a good burger. Yeah. What? The moment I was done with Burger King was when Burger King came out and they were like, oh, hey, we have that new Impossible meat. And I was like, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. I don't know who you are.
Well, they grind up beans or something, yeah, and call it hamburger.
Yeah. And then they were doing a test thing, and I read about this, where people that ordered normal meat, Whoppers, they were giving them the plant stuff and not the Whopper. And I was like, okay, well, that ought to be illegal because people have, very specific protein considerations about their own diets that they've made. Who the hell gives you the right to give them a damn plant and call it meat?
That's like giving a person with a peanut allergy a peanut butter sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not right. So I was like, you know what? The world's better off without Burger King.
Josh says if he comes on the show, he'll end up on JR's list. So you may already be on the list, Josh. You never know with JR's.
Some people are on the list and never realize it.
Yeah. Let's see. Chat. Let's see.
But they'll realize it when he brings the ass whooping.
Harrowing. Brad, what do you think of Incredible Hulk by Philip Kennedy Johnson so far? I've only read issue 1. I liked it. I thought it was okay. It is much better than what predated it by Ryan Otley, and unfortunately, he was in an accident.
Donnie Cates?
Donnie Cates, yeah. I've been reading the Hulk I've read every Hulk issue of Incredible Hulk.
And we should take a moment, since this is the first podcast we've done since that news broke, to say, hey, get better, Donnie Cates.
No doubt. He was in a bad car wreck.
Yeah.
That's why he was off of Hulk and off of Thor. But I just did not like that episode, that run at all. I thought it was the worst in Hulk history. So, Philip, thank you for the 25th anniversary. Glad you're going to join us Saturday. That'll be fun. Arby's fun fact from Hornacek: the world's largest curly fry was 38 inches long. Jeez.
Probably looked more like a tapeworm than a curly fry.
And see, I used to like curly fries, but now that Arby's has the crinkle fries are the game changer.
Mhm.
Oh, well, you got to get the good ones though that are really curly.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes they bring them out and they haven't cooked them long enough, and you're like,
No.
you get home and you're like, this
Yeah,
isn't
but
as good
the
as it
ones
could
that
be."
are okay. Hold on. Let's look at curly fries. All right.
Yeah, you show me curly fries. I'm talking about crinkle fries.
Well, what's a crinkle fry? I'm talking curly.
It's the new fry they have. It's like it's like
Never
a fry.
had those.
Well,
It's like
why
if
don't
you
you
bought the
Google this? You can
Ora.
see it.
Did you ever buy the Orida crinkle or
Yeah,
crinkle
it's like
fries?
Orida. You know the way they're cut with like a
Arby's
ridge.
crinkle fries. Oh no, I'm getting curly every time, bro.
Oh well, hey, more curly fries for me then, Jack. This stuff is like crack cocaine.
I thought bacon was.
I mean, I eat a lot of bacon.
Wait a minute. Arby's curly fry vodka? What is that?
Apparently, it's Arby's
Hold on.
curly fry flavored vodka, Brad. Like it
In
says
the
right there.
heck? Wait a minute. All these pop-ups.
This is why
Wow.
you get ad block.
I got one and it went through. Arby's announced it will release limited edition crinkle fry vodka and curly fry vodka. The 80 proof bottles will be available to purchase November 18th. There you go, George.
The vodka costs $60. Yeah, good luck with that.
What the heck? Wow. Did we not go down a
If-
rabbit
if
hole on
I'm
the
paying
25th anniversary?
If I'm paying $60 for a bottle of vodka, it's because there's a Russian stripper pouring it into my mouth.
Nothing can stop Arby's ads, not even ad blocker.
Apparently not. That's
Brad,
how strong
Google-
Arby's is.
Brad, Google something live. Take a shot of vodka curly fry. Yeah.
Brad's not going to drink on camera. He's a teetotaler, and I respect.
But
that.
I don't drink alcohol anyway. I don't like it.
I here recently, like in the last several years, I don't really drink booze anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll have
All right.
a beer every now and then, maybe at a restaurant, maybe.
Final thoughts, George, on the 25th anniversary.
This was more enjoyable than I thought it was. Than I thought it was going to be. Originally, I thought this would be
Thanks.
kind of a kick to the Tic Tacs, but
Wow.
no, it did. Yeah, this was it was interesting.
All right. JR, 25th anniversary. Was it more enjoyable than you thought it was going to suck?
Well, I tell you what, I was really surprised that we had very few duplications amongst the
that's
three of
true.
us.
Yeah.
And that we all, didn't necessarily lean into what everybody else says the classic covers are, that, ones that we just like. I mean, it's like, but no, 25th, Jesus, it's like 25th anniversary of the Crawl Space. I'm just thinking, holy cow, I was in my 30s, when that started. You probably still had some hair, didn't you, Brad?
I did. And
We
I was
both
in
did.
college. I was a junior in college then. Josh Nelson for the super chat. The worst 25 covers. All right, we're gonna do
Oh.
75 of them right now for
No.
Josh.
The Pregnant Menace has got to be one of
The
them.
one with Deadpool and
Oh.
Spidey.
Oh.
The art was bad. The cover was Scotty Young, I think. That's interior art.
Probably
Oh,
the
yeah.
first brand new verse issue. When then you open it up and then it's Spider-Man with a gun saying, "Give me your effing money," and
Well, that's a
I had-
cover. That's not a cover though. That's an interior.
that's why I said the first issue of brand new
No.
verse. I'm saying maybe for me that would be the least favorite, because then you turn that over and then there's that
Yeah.
slot panel, and I was like, this is pretty much Marvel's attitude. Give us your effing money.
Mhm.
The story doesn't have to be good. Just do what you're told and give us money. And I remember I pointed that out on the message boards and slot.
JR, you got a bad one? It comes to mind.
Well, I just said
Mad
the
about it.
Pregnant
Oh.
Menace one has got to be one of the worst.
Pregnant Menace, yes, that's a good one. I guess the Deadpool one, but that
Well, here's the thing about worse Spider-Man covers. When bad covers, you typically tend to just forget them and move on.
That's true. Hornacek, that's a good one right there. He says,
I was about to say Hornacek.
when Spider-Man's kissing Gwen Stacy's daughter from the Sins Past sequel. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That was a Greg Land cover, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's up there, Hornacek. That's really good. Oh, Milo, yes, the Rhino variants.
Oh,
where
yes.
just the horn is coming through for each 5 issues.
God, yes.
Hey,
people bought those.
Oh yeah,
there are people that bought every one of those. So
yep, I remember.
You get what you pay for, folks.
Jenkins' run had Carrie Andrews and Humberto Ramos on covers mostly. By the way, maybe we'll tackle this in Spider News. It was announced that Spider-Man Reign 2 is coming, gentlemen. What do you think of that? By Carrie Andrews.
There's no bad idea they won't go back to it. And they'd probably have 10 variants and probably a Gwen variant.
They're going to make it rain, you know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing. It'll sell. People are stupid enough to buy it.
Yeah, I agree.
People will
Well, the first one wasn't even that good. I mean, I didn't like it that much, to be honest. No, not at all.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be good, Brad. It just has to be bought.
True.
My final thought. The story.
My final thought is, I hope you can join us Saturday night. Hope you can join us live from around the world. We always like to hear people. I listen to the Crawl Space on a bus in the UK going to work. I like to hear this. I like to hear that. Where are you guys listening to it? Now's your chance to tell us a story. I think that's kind of fun. There was a chat I want to pop up before I call it. Where was it? Okay. Thomas says, I binged the podcast for the last 2 months. I'm now in the 2021 episodes. Congratulations for the quarter decades of Crawl Space Entertainment. Thank you, Thomas. That's really nice that you've binged 700. I'm getting ready to release episode 800, which is coming up in a couple weeks.
So Walt said Marvel might as well do a sequel to OMD. They did that, Walt. It was called Omit.
Oh, that's right.
And it was every bit as bad.
That's
where we got the double brick.
That's true. The double brick. All right. Everybody in chat, to my friends on the show, thank you for 25 years. It's been a blast. Here's to 25 more, and we'll see JR live streaming from the home. All right. Peace out. See y'all Saturday night.